Hello guys. Hi. Welcome to stream. Hello. Okay. Hi guys. വേറൊന്നുമല്ല ഹലോ വെൽക്കം ടു സ്ട്രീം എന്ന് പറയാനാണ്. എനിവേസ് എന്നിട്ട് ടൈറ്റിൽ വേറൊന്നുമല്ല. ബേസിക്കലി ഇനി വരെ തിങ്കൾ ചൊവ്വ ബുധനൊക്കെ ഓണമാണ്. സോ പ്രിറ്റി മച്ച് ഓണം കാരണം ഓൾമോസ്റ്റ് എല്ലാം എംപ്ലോയീസ് ലെറ്റ്സ് ജസ്റ്റ് സേ ലീവിലാണ്.
A huge chopper over the prison to rescue him.
സോ അതുകൊണ്ട് ഞാനും മിക്കവാറും വർക്കിംഗ് ആയിരിക്കും. ഞാൻ ബിക്കോസ് വേറൊന്നുമല്ല, എനിക്ക് കുറച്ച് ലൈക്ക് എക്സ്ട്രാ പണിയുണ്ട്. അപ്പോൾ എനിക്ക് ലീവ് എടുത്താലും ഇല്ലെങ്കിലും പ്രിറ്റി മച്ച് ഞാൻ വർക്ക് ചെയ്യണം. സോ അതുകൊണ്ട് ഇതിട്ടതാണ്. വേറെ ഒന്നുമല്ല, എനിക്ക് വേറെ ടൈറ്റിലൊന്നും കിട്ടിയില്ല. നല്ല 2-3 ഉണ്ടായിരുന്നു, പക്ഷെ പിന്നെ വേണ്ടെന്ന് വെച്ച്. എനിവേസ് റിഗാർഡിങ് യെസ്റ്റർഡേ, ഞാൻ ഇന്നലെ യെസ് യുവർ ഗ്രേസ് തീർത്തു. ഒരു പ്ലേ ത്രൂ തീർത്തു. കുറച്ച് അച്ചീവ്മെന്റ്സ് കിട്ടി. ഞാൻ ഐ ഗസ് നൗ ബാക്ക്ഗ്രൗണ്ട് ഇതിടാം. ലെറ്റ്സ് ഗോ.
How is that not making a scene? You expect no one to notice that? Helicopters are kind of loud. Also, there's a part where Alexei is trying to escape the prison. 1 second he's surrounded by guards, and in the next they all just kind of vanish. So that was convenient for him. Thank you, editors, for making that possible. So inmates and prison guards start rushing outside. In order to help Alexei escape, Natasha swings down and takes out some brainless guards that don't like using their guns. The guards that do like using their guns shoot at the helicopter that Yelena is flying. Then this guy with a mounted turret starts firing at the chopper. How is this thing still flying? It is absurd. Yelena then casually gets up and fires a missile at this guy. There's a big explosion and it causes an avalanche. I guess the shockwave from the explosion caused it, but the tower is kind of far away from the mountains, so I'm not sure how that happened. I'm just gonna roll with this one because I'm not sure if this could actually happen or not. I'm not about to try and myth bust this, so I'm just gonna say it's fine. So Yelena swoops down with the chopper, lifting Natasha and Alexei away to safety. All the other poor bastards in the prison are... Not too long ago, a movie called The Eternals came out. Do you remember The Eternals? Yeah, I almost forgot it existed. And then all of a sudden it was on Disney Plus and I was like, oh yeah, that one. So I decided to give it a watch, and I've never heard of the Eternals. I don't read a bunch of comic books, so maybe if you're like really big into Marvel comics, you'll know what these superheroes are, but I've never heard of them. So I was going in blind, like, okay, the Eternals, random, fine, let's see what they are. I was thinking maybe it'd be another like Guardians of the Galaxy type situation. Apparently Eternals also has a TV miniseries from 2014. I've clearly never seen this, and I haven't even heard about it until I put Eternals into IMDb and it popped up. Chloe Zhao wrote and directed this movie. She's the same person behind the movie Nomadland. Oh god. Which I liked a lot. It got a lot of buzz during the Oscars. She made 2 other movies that have a lot of good reviews. Songs My Brothers Taught Me and The Writer. I haven't seen them myself, but people online like them. So it's safe to say that Chloe Zhao knows what she's doing. And it looks like The Eternals is the first superhero movie that she's worked on. It looks like this movie is way out of her comfort zone. Normally she does very grounded movies, character studies.
No
All the
charges.
movies seem to be based in the real world.
No charges.
sci-fi, no fantasy. I also want to mention that on IMDb, The Eternals has a very fancy banner.
Spike
That's how I know it's a
down, B.
Disney movie, because they put lots of money into their fancy banners for IMDb.
Entry, boy,
Thank you so much
entry,
to
go,
Displate
go,
for
go!
sponsoring this video. I'm super excited to sponsor Displate because I honestly love them. You see the posters behind me? They're all from Displate. Displate is about collecting and sharing your passions. They have over 1 million designs. They have Star Wars, Marvel, DC, The Witcher,
Spike down,
Cyberpunk,
B.
Bethesda. If you can think of it, there's probably
Last
Displate
player
up there. They have
standing.
up to 40,000 artists on the site, and they deliver to 56 countries around the world. They're printed on metal, and they're incredibly easy to mount, with 4 very easy steps. First, you use a cleaning cloth to clean the area on the wall. Then you attach these wall
have
safety
courage.
pads to your wall, and then
no
you
one
attach the magnets to those pads and put up your Displate. Honestly, the best part about Displate is that if you don't put it on the wall right, you can always adjust it so it's level. And if you want to replace that Displate with another Displate, it's
There.
extremely easy to do. All you do is take it off and put another one up. Displate is a good alternative to standard paper impressions or canvas printing. All of them are printed in the EU, so if you want a Displate for yourself or someone that you love, click my link at the top of the description and you will save 23% on 1 to 2 Displates and 27% if you order 3 or more Displates. Thank you so much to Displate for sponsoring this video. Now back to the review.
No charges.
I'm going to be spoiling this movie, so if you don't want the Eternals spoiled for you, you should click off this video, maybe watch it, then come back. You know, it's up to you, but please watch my video. Please watch my video. So the movie starts with a text scroll. I saw some people complaining about it online. I didn't really mind this, especially if it preps the audience to absorb a lot of information. These help with lore-heavy movies, like Blade Runner, for example, or Star Wars, that might otherwise be hard to follow. Immediately, this movie presents itself as a very CGI-heavy movie. In movies like this, I don't mind so much because obviously they're going to have to use a lot of computer effects to pull off
Still waiting.
superheroes that use crazy abilities. These Eternals all have these like glowing golden
Last player
weird
standing.
abilities. They're kind of like the boring versions of the They all have their role to play.
Nice
Some of
try.
them are quirky, some of them are serious and brooding. One scene shows Earth from space 7,000 years ago. The view shows northern Africa with the Sahara Desert.
Shine
However,
there,
7,000 years ago, the Sahara was not a desert,
buddy.
but covered in grass, trees, and lakes. The African humid period ended 6,000 to 5,000 years ago. I didn't find that online, okay? I just knew that. And I gotta say, the CGI is pretty great. There were a couple times when you could kind of pick out some flaws in it, but for the most part, it's seamless. I mean, I would expect a movie with a $200 million budget to have good CGI. This is kind of a nitpick. The beginning of this movie takes place thousands and thousands of years ago, during the caveman period, and the Eternals
Where
are
are
speaking
you?
English to each other. Yeah, that's right, guys. I mean, you might speak French or Italian or whatever,
Get out of my
but
way.
English is the language of the gods. Get with it. Looks like I'm not just benefiting from being a cis white straight male, but I also speak English, the language of the Eternals, the god language, if you will. Obviously, it's gonna be different in different countries. I know that. It's just a joke. It's a joke. So there's a deaf girl and her name is Makari, and there's a scene when she's in ancient Mesopotamia using sign language. And there are several signs that even in those times would have made no
fought
sense
well.
to the population. Like when she signs time, she points at her wrist. They would not know what a wristwatch is, so it doesn't make much sense.
I'll find
Then
you.
there's a part where the Eternals are helping the locals farm. They are seen to be planting corn, which didn't exist in
Last
that part
player
of the world,
standing.
which is a huge mistake, Chloe Zhao. Come on. What do you think is... One of the Eternals is named Cersei, and she can like touch things and turn them into different things. She can like touch a boulder and turn it into water, etc. At around 10 minutes, she turns the fossil that's hanging on a wall into dust before it lands on a little girl. Yet after they get up off the floor, they're clean and there's no dust in their hair or clothes. Also, if you were this little
Last
girl, wouldn't you
round
be
in
confused?
the half.
Oh wow, someone just dumped a full sandbox on my head. I don't know where'd that come from? In this movie, there's these monsters called deviants. They're like these basic beasts made of like vines or something. They're very boring. Thank God they are not the actual antagonists of the movie, because that would suck. There's some pretty fun scenes when they're fighting these things, but by themselves they're very boring creatures. There's like random monsters. So Richard Madden is in this movie. His real name is Robb Stark, and he plays an Eternal named Icarus. Icarus and Cersei are in love in the beginning. Their romance has zero chemistry. It's not romantic at all. Kit Harington is in this movie too, his real name being Jon Snow. We fast forward a little bit, and Cersei and Robb Stark You're gonna say it like that because then you're probably thinking about the Cersei from Game of Thrones. Cersei and Icarus are a thing in the beginning. Then we fast forward in time by like thousands of years, and Cersei has a new boyfriend, except he's a human. His name is Dane. Yeah, that's Jon Snow. So Cersei like moved on from her brother and all the Stark brothers. She just wants
One enemy remaining. Last player standing.
You can always tell in these comic book movies, if there's a high-profile actor and they're playing like a random dude in a comic book movie, it's more than likely that in a future movie, they're going to become a hero themselves. It's not surprising anymore. At the very end of the credits, it's like, oh my god, Dane is actually a superhero.
Match
Did
point.
you know that? Did you know that?
May the
Yes, we
wind
knew
guide
that.
your blades.
It's not a big reveal anymore.
And my
Like, it's
arrows.
obvious. You think they're just gonna throw Kit Harington into this role as a random boyfriend and not promise him any sort of like big role in the future as a superhero? No, of course not. So Cersei tells Dane that she was with Icarus for 5,000 years. However, the next flashback shows that their relationship started while they were living in Babylon in 575 BC and ended a century before the events of the movie. So they were actually together for 2,500 years. Looks like math is not your best subject, Chloe. Unless they pulled it from the comics, in which case, I'm not gonna look up who did the comics. I'm just gonna be lazy this time, guys. Jack Kirby. That's
Where
who
are
is
you?
The Eternals. Jack Kirby. Gotcha. I know you little comic book nerds were getting ready to type on your keyboards. Oh my god, Alice, I can't believe it. Salma Hayek plays an Eternal named Ajak, and she's the prime Eternal, which means she's like the leader that can talk to a Celestial, and she's the only one that knows the real reason why they're on Earth. I'll explain the backstory in a little bit. And randomly she shows up dead, and all the Eternals are like, oh my god, she's dead. And if you look at her body, she's laying on the ground like a plank. That's not how someone lies down
Spike
dead.
planted.
She looks like she was lying in a coffin. Her body underwent rigor mortis, and then they removed her from the coffin and put her on the ground. So she's nice and stiff. She had the ability to heal people.
are you?
So when the
Last player
she'd
standing.
always be the one to back them up and heal them. So with her gone, it like complicates
Shut the
things.
fuck up.
Oh
Attackers
my
win.
God, who's gonna heal us now?
You're so
Angelina
mad.
Jolie
Shut the
is
fuck
in
up,
it.
man. You're
Yes,
gonna
that's
fight
better.
Njan.
No, she plays the Eternal named Thena. She's like this warrior woman that uses a shield and a sword. She suffers from this like mind disease in the movie. It's called Maud Weary or something. It's spelled like this. It basically just makes them hostile towards everybody around them. They don't know what's going on. They start attacking people. At first, they think that it's because she's lived too long and she's accumulated too many memories. But what's really happening is she's tapping into her old memories of them helping destroy other worlds. Okay, I should probably give some backstory now, so you guys aren't so confused. Basically, a big Celestial comes around, and he creates the Eternals. A Celestial is like a big god-like being. And they also create stars, and they put them next to planets in order to create life. But in order to create a Celestial, they put a little
Match
baby
found.
Celestial into a planet, which acts like an egg type thing. And in order for this egg to incubate correctly, there has to be a certain number of living things on the planet that have reached a certain level of intelligence. And the human race has reached that level, which is pretty surprising because people like this exist, and this, and this. So maybe this particular Celestial will be born like, you know, little cuckoo. Or maybe Tony Stark and Bruce Banner are so smart that they make up for all the dumbasses on Earth. Maybe that's what's happening. So you might be wondering what the Eternals do. Remember those evil dog things? The Deviants? Well, the Celestials created the Deviants, and they ended up turning on the Celestials. So the Celestials, trying to fix their mistake, are like, oh shit. All right, now we have to create something to take care of the Deviants. So the Deviants don't kill off all of the people, because if there's no more people, then the Celestials can't be born. So the Eternals go to different planets and kill off the Deviants, protecting the intelligent life form until the Celestial can be born. And when the Celestial is born, it's called the Emergence. In doing so, it destroys the planet and everybody on it, except for the Eternals, because the Celestial is like protecting the Eternals when it is born, I guess. So yeah, that's a lot of lore, but I think Chloe Zhao did a pretty good job explaining it in this movie. At no point did it feel like they were explaining too much, and I was like, oh my god, it's so boring. They spaced out the information in a good way, and when they do explain all this stuff, it's like a big, oh shit
1 second,
moment,
BRB.
you know? So it makes it more interesting. It doesn't seem like a big exposition dump. Barry Keoghan, he's one of the main characters from a Yorgos Lanthimos movie that I like a lot, named The Killing of a Sacred Deer. He's also in Dunkirk and The Green Knight. He's hilarious in The Green Knight, and he's one of the reasons you should watch
Don't
that
worry,
movie.
team.
I like it a lot.
If you
but I'm
die,
not talking about
I
that movie
have
right
your
now.
memories
Yes,
backed up at
he's
base.
also in Eternals.
Just
And he plays
kidding,
this guy
just
named
kidding.
Druig. He has the power to
Oh my.
manipulate people's minds and control them, but he's forced to sit by and watch as wars take place and thousands of people are killed. He believes that these deaths don't need to occur because he has the power to stop them. But the Eternals, they can't interfere with anything. Their job is to make sure the emergence happens and that's it. But in making sure the emergence happens, that means they have to interfere sometimes, right? Like when they kill the deviants. If a deviant's attacking someone, they can save that person and kill the deviant. But they can't interfere unless there's a deviant involved. Except for those times when they did interfere. Like when she made the fossil into sand and it didn't crush the girl. If she was really an Eternal, she would just let it happen. Like, just let the girl get crushed. So yeah, Druig doesn't like standing by and watching people kill each other. And over time, this weighs on him. And one day, he decides to abandon the mission and stop the violence, but also take away these people's free will.
Turret's
So
destroyed.
yeah, obviously, Earth is a planet that's holding a celestial. The Eternals have to make a decision. Oh my god, are we going to let Earth
One
get
enemy
destroyed
remaining.
and let this celestial be birthed and allow the emergence to happen and let the celestial create a lot more life? That's the big dilemma. Oh my god, if we let the celestial live, then that could mean a lot more life throughout
good,
the
doesn't
universe. Or we could
Now
save
do
Earth
it again.
and kill the celestial. Because humans are pretty cool. I think it's pretty obvious the right choice, you know? Like, just let Earth go. Maybe the Avengers can, like, go off in a spaceship and find a different planet to chill on. Give birth to this god that will create so much more life. It's just selfish letting people live at that point, right? But I wonder which one ends up happening. I do like this problem. It makes for a fun movie. Shem is the name of the Celestial that the Eternals are talking to. He's like this big red dude with a bunch of eyeballs, and Ajax was talking to it until Ajax told Icarus that she wants to kill the Celestial. And Icarus is like, what? Why would you ever do that? She's like, oh, people are pretty cool. They defeated Thanos. You see that? That was epic. And Icarus goes, okay, what? So Icarus betrays Ajax and has her killed. He like feeds her to the wolves. He pushes her off a cliff onto a frozen lake, and there's a bunch of deviants on it. And she lands like right next to a shotgun. Where the fuck is that?
One
So
enemy
yeah,
remaining.
she's dead, and one of the deviants like absorbs her life force, and that's like a special deviant. And guess what? That deviant turns into Pennywise the Clown. I'm only half joking. He becomes this alien
You can trust
human
my
thing.
boss.
He absorbs their
Only
powers
malfunction
like
that
Cell
one
from
time,
DBZ,
and
and becomes
honestly,
this
she'll miss that
four-eyed
finger.
human-looking alien thing named Crow. And it's played by Bill Skarsgård. I'm not a big fan of how this alien thing looks. I didn't like this alien thing. It came out of nowhere and it served very little purpose. I guess it made the deviants a little more interesting. It fleshed them out a little bit. It was like, oh my god, they actually have a soul and they were rebelling against the Celestials for a reason and they're not just crazy animals. And look at this weird one. It's absorbing people. It looks like a weird version of the Na'vi from James Cameron's Avatar, if H.P. Lovecraft designed it. Lots of tentacles. I love how these Celestials are like these huge, wise beings, but they suck
Placing
at
alarm
creating
bot.
new Celestials because they fucked up twice.
That's
They
done.
created the deviants, and the deviants were like, no, fuck you. So they're like, oh shit. So we have to create the Eternals to fight the deviants. But then they fucked up again because they gave the Eternals emotions. Human emotions that could easily disrupt their plans. They even say as much in the movie.
Last player standing.
Why wouldn't they just make them powerful, emotionless robots that just go around killing deviants? That's all you need.
Last
I know you
round
want them
before
to
the
blend
switch.
in, but like, why? They're
it
gods.
all
They don't have to
before
get
it's
a
gone.
job. I know one of their roles is to kind of like speed up the rate at which they become intelligent. So they give humans things like the wheel and the steam engine and stuff like that so they can evolve. Basically, all the cool inventions from mankind were just due to the Eternals. The Eternals did all that shit. Obviously, that's broken in many ways, but I'm not gonna even begin to go down that path, okay? You can have them introduce things to speed up their intelligence without giving them emotions, so they can become attached to the people that they're there to basically
Spike
kill
down
off.
B.
This is such a massive design flaw because the Eternals are there to practically save human
ultimate
beings
is ready.
from the deviants. So they're helping these people out. They're not just saving their lives, they're making them
Can't use that
prosper prosper and make their species thrive. And the Prime Eternal
Last
has to
player
live with the
standing.
knowledge that they're going to
Spike
kill
down B. One
They're
enemy
not supposed
remaining.
to tell the other Eternals, but they can
got
do
the
that
spike.
if they want to. They could just come out and tell all the Eternals, hey, guess why we're here? To kill everybody, to give birth to a god. There's nothing stopping them from telling them except for the fact that they don't want them to, like, betray the plan or something.
down.
I don't understand how this plan doesn't fail on every single planet.
Placing swarm grenade. Placing swarm. Areas clear.
Why did the Eternals become attached to these humans, but none of the other ones? History. All the thousands of years that they've been doing this. This is the first time they became attached to the species that they're saving
Switching
in order to
sides.
kill off later? What? So you're telling me that when they did this to a previous
I want their
species, they were
lives.
saving them, helping them, and then one day
I
they
get
were
this?
like, all right, guys, you're all gonna die now. Giving birth to the Celestial. And all the Eternals are like, sounds good, dude. And then they just fly away and kill all these people that they were helping for hundreds, thousands of years. What? Oh my god. In reality, this would happen every single time. Druid would
Placing
always
alarm
feel
bombs.
guilty about not helping the people that are killing each other. They don't only become attached to these people. The Eternals have every single flaw that
Bot
a
coming
normal
back.
person has, like pride, ego,
Alarm
wrath,
bot
whatever.
out.
One of them becomes a movie star because he loves attention. It's so weird. One of them is addicted to social media on their phone.
Sprite says you're addicted to this thing.
Oh, this?
So Cersei is chosen by Ajax to be the new Prime Eternal, and
Turret
Icarus is all
destroyed.
butthurt about
Spike
this because
down
he thought he
A.
was like the favorite, you know? There's pride getting in the way, and it causes a lot of tension between him and Druid. It's so stupid. They even argue like petty YouTubers. They talk about views. I'm not joking.
Some things, Joe.
Oh yeah? Like what?
Some internet content.
How many views?
I don't do it for the views.
I don't do it for the views. I know it was a joke, okay? There's some funny parts in this movie, I gotta say. And the fight scenes are fun. It's fun watching them all use their different
coming back.
abilities, even if some of their powers are really stupid.
Spike
One of them
planted.
literally uses finger guns.
Last player
Shit
standing.
out of them. It's so dumb. Finger guns, really? Okay. The finger guns guy is named Kingo. He's like the movie star. They
One
want to take
enemy
the false
remaining.
camera. They want to make like a documentary on his life. His name's Karun, and he's hilarious. I want to watch this movie again just because of Karun. He's really funny. Like, every single scene he's in, I love it.
Clutch.
Don't be fooled.
The Celestials even
Oh, my
make one of
genius
the
doesn't
Eternals a
stop in the lab.
child. They're not even all adults.
Match
and they
point.
can't age. That's like a big thing in this movie. Like, the child's name is Sprite, and she has this cool ability to, like, create illusions and turn herself into somebody else. She makes people see things, basically. And there's a lot of really cool scenes where she does this. But one of the
Placing
big
alarm bot.
conflicts stems from her wanting to become an adult, and she's really jealous of the other Eternals who got to live out their lives as
Calling
adults,
my bot.
and she never got that chance. So it made her super bitter. And so at the end of the movie, she sides with Icarus, and it ends up becoming Icarus and Sprite versus the other Eternals, and they fight each other over their conflicting ideals. But I just can't get over the fact that the Celestials are so dumb. How could they not have foreseen these designs? It's insane. Just make Sprite into an adult. What? It's like two simple things, and all the problems will be solved. I love how the Eternals can't interfere with anything.
Spike
Unless it's
planted.
related to the deviants. But what if something is on Earth and it threatens humanity more than the deviants do?
One enemy
They
remaining.
didn't interfere when Thanos was a threat? What about when Ultron was a thing? That was a pretty big deal. You could have definitely destroyed all of humanity. Your Celestials
Last
gonna come
player
to a hard-boiled
standing.
egg at that point. What are you gonna do about that? Do they just kind of like sit around and twiddle their thumbs while people are being murdered by something other than the deviants? It makes no sense. Obviously, in the movie, they don't do this, but that's what they're supposed to do. I really liked the fight between Icarus and the other Eternals.
expect
It was
that to
fun.
work.
I liked it a lot.
Defenders
and then
win.
Alien Skarsgård comes out of nowhere and ruins it. He's so goofy looking, and he's not interesting. I don't like him. Like many other men, he tries to suck the life out of Angelina Jolie. And he fails. Gets his head diced. And that's it. Pennywise the alien is dead.
Hey guys, it's Pennywise the Alien. This is not funny.
There's this really cool part at the end when Icarus is given the decision to either kill the woman he loves, Cersei, and fulfill the emergence in Arishem's plan, or stop himself from killing her and go against everything he believes in. It's these choices in particular that make this movie more than just another dumb superhero movie. At the end, the Celestial is like partially outside of Earth. Its hand is coming up and his face is like poking out. And Icarus makes his
Match
decision.
found.
And he kills Cersei and the world blows up and everyone dies. Obviously not. He doesn't kill Cersei, and he joins all the other Eternals with the Celestial, and they grant Cersei the power to like turn it into stone as it's emerging. And it's pretty hilarious because then they show on the news that people are like freaking out that this random god is appearing from the earth.
You guys did that?
Icarus, unable to live with the choice that he made, flies into the sun. Do you guys get it? Icarus flying into the sun. Do you get it? It's not blatant at all. It's whatever. I thought it was cute. There's a sweet moment at the end when Cersei, with the leftover power of the Celestial, turns Sprite into a human, granting her the ability to age and experience life like she's
Match
always
found.
wanted. Even though she'll die, but you know, who cares? So yeah, Arisham's pretty pissed. He comes to Earth and he's like, bitch, what the fuck? What you guys do? Damn. He then takes 3 of the Eternals with him and he's like, fuck you. And he leaves. He just teleports away and he steals them. I don't know, he had put them in jars or something. But Thena, Druig, and Makari are all on their spaceship. And this is during the first post-credit scene when a poorly rendered troll man named Pip pops out of nowhere, voiced by Patton Oswalt of all people.
No more drunk teleporting for you.
Shortly after, along comes Harry Styles. He plays someone named Star Fox. Watch out, Smash players. He's here and he's gonna kick your ass. Oh, sorry, his name is also Eros. He knows where to find the other heroes, I guess. And then there's a second post-credit scene of Dane looking at a sword. He's like, oh my god, I'm gonna become the Black Knight. I'm a hero too, guys. Give me a movie. That's what all these actors want. Make me a superhero, please. They're all fighting for it, aren't they? I bet every single actor in Hollywood that isn't over the age of like 70 is sitting there like praying that they will get a role as a superhero. But yeah, that's the Eternals. I liked it. And I also thought it was kind of silly and stupid in some ways, but overall, it was fun. I liked some of the conflict introduced. Alien Skarsgård kind of sucked, but I liked the dilemmas that the characters faced. I don't know. I'd probably give it like a 6.5 out of 10. Boring X-Men have a pretty fun movie. Let me know what you guys thought of this movie in the comment section down below. And let me know what I should review next. I'm working on a massive video for all the Harry Potter movies. That will be out in like 2 months, I'm guessing. And I'm also writing a novel, and that's gonna take a billion years too. So I'm working on a lot of big things at the same time. So yeah, guys, I really appreciate when you watch these little videos that I make every once in a while because it helps me feed myself. And I just like the discussion. It's fun. Thank you so much to all my patrons. You guys make videos like this possible. And I'll see you guys in the next one. Goodbye. Toodaloo. But it wasn't this.
They fly now! They fly now!
There's quite a lot of controversy when it comes to Mulan 2020.
Can someone,
but in order for you to understand these
steal his
controversies,
eye?
I have to provide some
What?
context.
I wanna
so I'm
see
going
what's
to
recorded.
simplify in the quickest way possible the Xinjiang conflict for those that may not be aware. I encourage everyone to do their own research because there's a lot to this. But basically, there's a conflict between the Uyghur people and the Han Chinese. From the 1950s to the 1970s, the Chinese government sponsored a mass migration of Han Chinese to the Uyghur region of Xinjiang and introduced a number of policies to suppress the cultural identity and religion of the Uyghur people. In July 2009, riots broke out in Xinjiang in response to a violent dispute between Uyghur and Han Chinese workers in a factory that resulted in over 100 deaths. In May 2014, China launched the Strike Hard campaign against violent terrorism in Xinjiang. Since then, there has been a massive campaign of ethno-religious repression carried out by the Chinese government. The CCP justifies their human rights violations by labeling them counter-terrorism. Many believe that the Chinese government consistently misuses counter-terrorism as
One enemy remaining.
cultural suppression
Last
of
player
rights
standing.
abuses. Reports
Spike
suggest
down
that China
A.
Panic ചെയ്തു അവിടെ.
where 1/3 of all
can't res your soul?
The education systems throughout
They should
Xinjiang are
probably
now
reevaluate
dominated
their
mostly by the
approach.
Chinese. Uyghur students are being sent to residential schools far from their home communities where they are able to speak their language. The Chinese are destroying Uyghur graveyards and digging up their dead and relocating them in an attempt to eradicate their history. They're forcing the Uyghur to remove clothing that represents their culture. They're harvesting thousands of human organs from these people. They're keeping Uyghurs in internment camps located in Xinjiang, where they torture, brainwash, sterilize, and force labor upon these people. But of course, China denies all wrongdoing. Now you may be wondering what any of this has to do with Mulan 2020. Well, they filmed the movie in Xinjiang, near some Uyghur concentration camps. And in the credits, they openly thank a CCP agency tasked with administering the camps. Now that is fucked up, even for Do Anything to
One
Money
enemy
Disney.
remaining.
If that wasn't enough for
Spike
you,
down
well,
A.
the lead actress Liu Yifei that plays Mulan
tests
voiced
to run.
support for the Hong Kong police on social media during the height of last year's pro-democracy
No one
protests
beats
in the
my
city. She
firepower.
posted,
I got
"I support
this."
the Hong Kong police. You can all attack me now. What a shame for Hong Kong." So it's not great knowing that she's pro-police brutality and anti-democracy. Anything to serve the great Winnie the Pooh, right? People around the world are trying to boycott Mulan 2020 because of these reasons, and it's hard to blame them. In 1998, when Disney released the cartoon Mulan, Chinese audiences found the character Mushu to be kind of
alarm
insulting,
bell.
and when Mulan cut her hair to pass as a male, that didn't make much sense to the audience, because it wasn't very uncommon for men to have long hair. The 2020 remake tries to rectify these mistakes, and despite Disney doing away with Mushu and the haircutting scene, the film still faced backlash. They tried to make the movie as marketable to China as possible, only to have the Chinese audience denounce the film. On top of that, the Chinese government ordered all media to stop covering Mulan. Disney charged people $30 to watch it at home, and it made
Spike
only
planted.
23 million in China on its opening weekend, and only 7.5 million in the US. And with a
Last
budget
player
of 200
standing.
million, you know that has to sting, because you know Disney and money. They love their money. Can you imagine how upset Disney must have been?
Last
Maybe now
round
we'll
in the
stop
half.
seeing soulless remakes of
everything you
classic
have. We
cartoons.
lose it
There's
anyway.
still time to save Moana, guys. And yes, I have seen the new Mulan. But don't worry, I wasn't about to pay $30 to see it. I used my friend's Disney Plus account, so they're to blame, not me. I'll be covering most of the film in this video, and doing my absolute best not to get copyright claimed by Disney, if that's even possible.
Show us the
Before
way,
I go
Sky.
ahead and talk about Mulan
Placing alarm
2020,
bot.
I'd like to recommend an actually good
Get out of my
live-action
way.
Mulan film, and that's the 2009 movie Mulan: Rise of a Warrior. It feels so much more authentic than Disney's 2020 film. It's a grounded in reality version of Mulan that is inspired heavily by Mulan's origins. This is a much darker movie in tone than the Mulan that we're used to. Mulan is plagued by the horrors of war and losing fellow soldiers and friends. She becomes a renowned general in the movie. It's a very emotional movie. It's not as kid-friendly. It's a brutal and sad war movie with lots
You
of
will
death and
not
defeat.
kill
But I
my
loved it
ally.
because it felt like a real flesh and blood character. It felt like she easily could have been a real
Spike
person.
down
So yeah,
A.
go watch that movie if you haven't. It's much
One
better
enemy
than
remaining.
That's great. I think
Okay,
that's it.
I guess now it's time to talk about Mulan 2020.
Switching sides.
Yay.
You're all
I loved
safe.
Mulan as a kid. It made
going
me
back in.
laugh, cry, sing. I kind of put Mulan as one of my favorite childhood
Alarm bot
movies.
out.
I love the themes, I love the characters. So hearing that there was going to be a remake, I was pessimistically intrigued. After watching it, I am astounded at how bad it was.
Are you crazy? Are you out of your mind?
There were two scenes in this movie that kind of brought back the magic in a very subtle way, but the rest of it was just garbage. I didn't have high hopes for this movie to begin with because of all the other remakes that were mostly awful, and it seems I was right. This movie does something a little bit different and starts when
Reloading.
Mulan is a child. It kind of portrays her as an unruly kid.
Enemy
She
spotted
performs a
A.
crazy stunt off of the roof while chasing a chicken. In this movie, Mushu is replaced with a phoenix,
dropped.
but the phoenix
Placing
isn't really a
sentry.
character. It's more of a
Somebody else.
guide. It's more of a symbol.
I got the
It's
spike.
not a guardian. It's not comical
their
relief like in the original. It's supposed to be like a symbol of her letting go of her false identity.
Down.
Which would be
Enemy spotted
fine,
A.
I guess, on its own, but they almost completely do away with it.
One enemy
Which
remaining.
was such a huge staple in the original Mulan. Mulan originally fought against Roaring invaders instead of the Huns, which is an inaccuracy that Disney
Looks like I
corrected
was
for the new version of the movie. One of the only things that they corrected. So these
Match
Warrens are
point.
introduced
Jackson
as
is someone
these
who
warriors
understands
in black, like they're basically desert goths.
So ideally,
They
if I
can run
win
up
this,
walls.
I can go
it's
play
so
Valorant.
dumb. How can they do this? With their chi, I guess? I almost wanted to give the movie the benefit of the doubt and say like they had like spiked boots or something. Granted, there are some silly scenes in the cartoon, but then again, it's easier to suspend your disbelief with cartoons. I find this part where they run up the wall so silly because even in the cartoon, they use grappling hooks to climb a wall. And that's not all. When they're approaching the city, Bori Khan, the character that replaces Shan Yu in this movie, he catches an arrow mid-flight that's about to hit him. Oh my god, this guy, he's so fast and powerful. He's got a lot of chi. When you make
I got the
chi
spike.
into like a superpower, it kind of dilutes a lot of people's accomplishments, especially Mulan's. Mulan's supposed to be an exceptional warrior, not because she has a superpower, but because she's really skilled. It's not like just some random natural talent that she got from birth. That's what they're making it seem like in this movie. It's almost as if Disney thought a woman fighting amongst men was too unrealistic, so they gave her a superpower. Remember in the cartoon how Shan Yu had an eagle? Well, Bori Khan has an eagle too, except this eagle is a witch. Yeah, you heard that right. The Emperor's voice in the remake doesn't sound natural at all.
We'll destroy this roaring army and the witch.
It's very rough and coarse, like he's trying to put on this voice to sound powerful. In the animation, the Emperor is a proud yet wise and peaceful old man.
A single grain of rice can tip the scale.
In the remake, he's narcissistic, merciless,
One enemy
and
remaining.
a wizard? The matchmaker scene is okay, I
Attackers
guess,
win.
and there isn't any breathing time. The Imperial Army recruiters arrive at the village immediately after the matchmaking scene. There should have been a scene of Mulan mulling over her failure at the matchmaking. Maybe her father could give her some words of advice. And then you hear the drums of the recruiters coming. The father's acting in the remake is pretty good. I think he sold the role pretty well. The scene of Mulan donning her father's armor and leaving in the middle of the night is executed so much better in the cartoon. The music is better. The scene of her cutting her hair after looking at a reflection in the sword. I know it doesn't make a lot of sense historically, but it was still a great method to convey her transformation into a male soldier. You watched as she put her comb down as a message to her father before leaving, and her father doesn't find out the next day. He's woken up by the grandmother. The father then races after her, but because of his leg, he trips in the mud. Then you see the comb fall as the gates swing open and closed with the wind. It's such a great scene. In the remake, she just like puts on the armor and awkwardly struts out. The Lucky Cricket from the cartoon is replaced with a soldier named Cricket, and his character is extremely irrelevant. Yeah, he plays practically no part in the movie. The goofy cast of characters from the cartoon are all replaced with bland, flavorless soldiers. Remember Yao, the short, stocky, arrogant, and big-jawed tough guy with a black eye? And Po, the friendly, gentle giant? And Ling, the goofy, fun-loving string bean? Yeah, well, you could just replace them with these random dudes. There's a couple times when you can tell they're trying to be unique characters, but it's pretty much impossible to pick one out from the rest. The climbing pole challenge from the cartoon is replaced with a mountain that they have to climb while holding out 2 large buckets filled with water. I don't like this change because it has less to do with ingenuity than it does with strength or endurance. But I guess Mulan in this movie has her superpowered chi that she can use to climb a mountain and hold water better than men. So stupid. Mulan in the cartoon wasn't stronger than men. She was just smarter. For whatever reason, they gave Mulan like brute strength in this movie. It is so weird. And since most men would naturally be stronger than Mulan, the climbing up the mountain means less and it makes less sense. The love interest in the remake is not Li Shang. Instead, it's a random soldier. This new character is not interesting at all. They didn't try to develop him in any way. He doesn't have any struggles. There's nothing he has to overcome. He's just a guy that exists to be a love interest for Mulan. That's it. In the cartoon, Li Shang was out to prove himself to his father. He was a newly appointed captain, and then he finds out that his father dies, which makes Mulan sympathize with his loss. She sees how a man is expected to swallow their grief instead of express their feelings in the face of great tragedy. Mulan grows to respect him and his struggles. Oh no, it's a good thing they removed Li Shang, because including him would be weird, right? It would be distasteful. I can't believe a producer actually admitted that they removed Li Shang because having a commander that is also a sexual love interest was very uncomfortable. So you're telling me this made them uncomfortable, but a woman falling in love with a beast is okay? And Li Shang helps the Me Too movement. He starts off sexist because of the culture, but then later changes. He learns that he was wrong. It's called character development. By removing Li Shang, you removed LGBT representation, substituted him with a less effective character, and used the Me Too movement as a cover-up as to why he wasn't in the movie, which is very strange because Li Shang doesn't take advantage of Mulan at any time throughout the film. And their relationship doesn't even truly begin until after the war when Mulan is no longer in the military. So it just doesn't make sense from any angle. In the remake, Mulan has nothing to prove to this random soldier. He's just a guy. Like, oh hey, what's up, random dude? She doesn't have any real reason to respect him any more than any other person. I mean, yeah, he's nice to her, but the other Goonie characters are nice to her too. So she could fall in love with any of them just as easily as him. What, because he's more attractive? Is that how deep we're going with this movie?
We drop him. He's the attractive one.
And there's so little chemistry between them throughout the entire runtime of the movie. It's almost as if they would have been better off just removing a love interest altogether. The captain in the remake says this:
4 ounces can move 1,000 pounds.
Which is weird, right? Using an American weight system. Especially during the Han Dynasty, like pounds and ounces, they weren't a thing. You should have said like a grain of sand can move a boulder.
A single grain of rice can tip the scale. One man may be the difference between victory and defeat.
4 ounces can move 1,000 pounds.
You serious?
I'm not sure what the editors were doing in this movie, but I don't think it was ready to be released. There were some scenes where the backdrop looked so fake that I almost thought I was watching like a Broadway show. During the scene when the Rorans face off against the Imperial soldiers, Mulan is part of a flank group. So they're all on horses and they're chasing after this other group of Rorans. The Rorans are shooting arrows at them, and all but 2 Imperial soldiers remain in the flank group, so they retreat. Mulan, on the other hand, is a complete dumbass and decides to keep running after them, despite the fact that she's extremely outnumbered. Like, I get you have this superpower now, but I don't think that's gonna save you. But luckily, the fog saved her instead. The Rorans just kind of vanish, and she's lost now, just stumbling along this random area until the witch pops out of nowhere, and they start fighting. Mulan was kind of reckless in the cartoon, but only once you saw it in advantage. In this one, it's just the witch knows that she's a woman somehow. I guess she can smell her vagina with her witch powers, and she throws a shuriken at Mulan. It hits her right in the tits, and it sends her flying. Except the wrap thing she was using to cover her boobs, yeah, it saved her life. So I guess ironically, pretending to be a guy saved her life. So that's interesting. But yeah, I guess this scene's all about embracing womanhood. So she takes off all of her armor, puts her hair down, gets on the horse, and rides into battle. I guess maybe maybe allowing her to bounce around easier. But why put your hair down? It's so stupid. There's literally no tactical advantage to putting her hair down. In fact, it's a detriment. Enemy soldiers can grab her by her hair, and it will get in her face, blocking her vision. She will perform worse with her hair down. But I guess now she unlocked all of her superpowers. It was restrained due to the lie. I think the woman empowerment theme in the original cartoon was more than serviceable. You didn't have to introduce this super chi thing that she unlocks by embracing who she really is. And they keep repeating these 3 virtues in this movie: loyal, brave, and true.
Loyal, brave,
Care package over there. Let's get on
But
that.
she didn't unlock all 3 perks, right? It's a video game, and she has to unlock all 3 perks, and she couldn't unlock the true perk because she wasn't being true to herself.
Loyal.
It wasn't until she put her hair down, she took her armor off, that she was being true to herself, and she unlocked all 3 perks, so she became, you know, superhuman. Well, more superhuman. She was already superhuman before, but now she's like superhuman. Remember the avalanche scene from the cartoon? Yeah, well, they do it a little bit differently here. So the witch is using her bird spell to keep the Imperial army busy. They're all huddled up in these shield wall like formations. Little do they know, the Rorans had set up a trebuchet and it's the perfect distance to hit these little formations of shield wall. And so they fire the trebuchet at the soldiers. And miraculously, it hits them. Wow. I'm very impressed. These things are made for like siege battles against castles when you can't really miss. They're not supposed to be used against ground troops. And when were they setting this thing up? When they were fighting? Like, what? It's so dumb. It's unbelievably stupid. So Mulan, she decides to gather a bunch of helmets and ride behind the Roran troops. How she did this without them noticing her, who knows? I mean, she's wearing bright red, so it's hard to miss her. But I guess the Roran troops are blind, and she hides behind them, right? She sets up all of the helmets to like trick them into thinking that a bunch of troops somehow got behind them without them knowing. So she starts firing on them with her bow, and she takes out a few of their troops, and they're freaked out. So they turn the trebuchet to fire on Mulan. I mean, they can't even see any troops. They just see like a couple of helmets laying on rocks. But I guess this was enough to convince them that they had to turn the trebuchet. Like, forget the formations down below that are definitely more of a threat. Let's turn the trebuchet and fire directly at the mountain when they know it won't hit them. They just fire it just because, I don't know, just cuz? Just fire the trebuchet! So obviously, this causes an avalanche. And surprisingly, Mulan, who's up on the mountain, is able to outrun the avalanche. Oh, that's right, the horse was hidden in this little, like, nook. It was there perfectly so she could run and jump onto it and scurry away. What a perfect horse she has. Mulan, like, miraculously saves this random soldier boyfriend that she has by riding through the snow with the horse. They made riding through the snow look more treacherous in the cartoon. So then Mulan continues her idiotic streak and decides to out herself to the rest of the soldiers. She could have just put her hair back up and covered her tits. Like, just cross your arms or something. You know, hide those babies. They do it so much better in the cartoon. Mulan doesn't out herself because of some suicidal need to express her womanhood and unlock her lady chi. In the cartoon, she's injured and she passes out from the pain. Li Shang has a healer mend her wounds, and this is when Li Shang finds out that she's a woman. In the remake, she's just like, yeah, just kill me, please. I'm done pretending.
Expulsion.
I would rather be executed.
Excuse me, what?
In the cartoon, Mulan is left behind, and this is when she finds out that the Huns weren't all eliminated by the avalanche, and she feels it's her duty to inform Li Shang. In the remake, the witch just randomly comes out of nowhere, and she's like, you gotta join me because you're a lady and I'm a lady, and we're both dealing with the same issues here. And for whatever reason, she decides to tell Mulan about the Rorans invading the Imperial City.
The coward will take your city, and your emperor will fall.
And at this point, she's still loyal to the Rorans, so I'm not really sure why she did that. Personally, I think the witch's inclusion dilutes Mulan's own struggles because it introduces another character that we have to sympathize with for the same exact reason.
She knows
I know one of the main themes of Mulan is woman empowerment, but she was doing that perfectly well on her own. You don't have to introduce this random witch that's being stolen by. In the cartoon, Lucy is fighting to prove himself to his ancestors, but it doesn't diminish Mulan's strength as a woman, because they're trying to prove themselves for different reasons. Li Shang wanted to prove himself to his father, and then he finds out that his father has passed away. So it's up to him to fill his father's shoes, so to speak. You see, all these characters have their paths that they're taking, their own internal struggles. With this witch character, it just feels like they copy and paste version of There's an element here where the witch is but she's not a strong character on her own. And I found it very hard to sympathize with her because throughout the movie she's killing innocent people and posing as them, and yeah, she's kind of an evil bitch. So I'm sorry if I'm not like shedding a tear for this woman. So Mulan informs her regiment of Borikhan's plan to infiltrate the city. Her comrades believe her and convince the commander that what she says is true, so they travel there together. The witch kills the Emperor's chancellor and impersonates him to get the Emperor to expose himself in a vulnerable position with the Khan. When ambushed, the Emperor uses chi magic to fend off the enemy. He becomes a fabric bender. And I wish I was joking. So the Rorans take out everything, but instead of glittering him with arrows, they decide to shoot a bunch of ropes around him and then like twist the ropes to capture him. When the plan was to kill him. But I guess Borikhan wanted to do it himself in like this self-aggrandizing way. So stupid. In an attempt to retrieve the Emperor, Mulan finds the witch on the Emperor's throne. It takes like 2 seconds for Mulan to convince her to betray Borikhan, so she does. She turns into an eagle and flies away and leads Mulan straight to him. The witch then sacrifices herself by flying directly into an arrow that Borikhan shoots at Mulan. So yeah, the witch is dead now. So I don't care. Like, the movie wants me to care, I just don't. I'm not sure how an eagle can outfly an arrow. I guess it's her magic. It's always the magic, right? Mulan reaches Borikhan, and she's able to fight him one-on-one. During the fight, Mulan accidentally loses her sword by dropping it into a vat of lava that is conveniently placed right below them. And it's not like a big vat or anything. It's like a little tiny one, and the sword just happened to slide right in there, so yeah. That sucks. And then the Emperor's like, rise up like the Phoenix and defeat him.
Rise up like a phoenix.
Even though the Emperor has no idea that the Phoenix has any sort of significance with Mulan, but I guess he just conveniently mentioned the same exact thing that her father was talking about back home. So, cool how things work out that way. And so this Phoenix comes out of nowhere and she rises up and, you know, it shows the wings. Very powerful scene. It kind of reminded me of that Daenerys scene from Game of Thrones.
If they're not taught in film school, I swear to God, they're not doing it right.
Mulan jumps on this wooden beam that's being suspended by just a rope in the center. I'm not sure how she was planning on staying on there, but Borikhan helps her out by jumping on it too, so the weight equalizes. Yeah, so that was nice of him. I'm not sure why I didn't just watch her fall. But yeah, Mulan does her fancy moves, and Borikhan falls, but he doesn't die. He's just laying there. Mulan frees one of the Emperor's hands, and Borikhan secretly shoots an arrow at the Emperor. But the Emperor is too quick. He catches the arrow, and he throws it in the air. This is when Mulan jumps in the air and kicks the arrow with her super chi legs, and and the arrow goes flying into Borikhan. But he's not fast enough, because obviously Mulan can kick an arrow faster than a bow can shoot it, because that makes sense. And yeah, so it kills Borikhan. She kicks the arrow into him. I can't believe this exists. In the cartoon, Mulan defeats Shan Yu after losing her sword by using an instrument typically meant for women, a decorative fan. Technically, Mushu is the one that defeated Shan Yu, you know, by shooting him with a firework that sends him into a tower full of fireworks, literally blowing him up. Kind of brutal if you think about it. Mulan's friends in the cartoon dress up as women in order to catch Shan Yu's men off guard, which was a great contrast to Mulan pretending to be a man earlier in the movie, as well as being very comical in nature. Guess what her friends get to do in the remake? Yeah, they just fight off a bunch of random goons. Her friends have absolutely no substance or character. in this movie. It's sad. The iconic music from the cartoon is replaced with instrumentals, which I would be okay with if the rest of the movie was good, but it's not. In the cartoon, when the Emperor is saved, he recounts all of Mulan's misdeeds before bamboozling us and thanking her for saving the kingdom and bowing to her. The greatest honor anyone could hope to achieve. It's followed by all the Emperor's subjects and all of the people in Imperial City bowing to Mulan. It's a very powerful moment. In the remake, the Emperor is struggling to read his lines.
I invite you to take your place with our greatest decorated warriors.
So yeah, he thanks Mulan and offers her a place in his guard. Mulan refuses the Emperor's wishes in favor of her family. There's a pointless and emotionless scene with her love interest on a bridge. The set during the scene kind of looks like a theme park. It doesn't look realistic at all. When she returned to her father, that scene was okay. In the cartoon, this moment holds more weight because Mulan expects her father to be very upset with her. So she brings him gifts because she knows how much honor means to him. She's desperate for him to accept her back despite what she's done to dishonor the family. Her father pushes the gifts aside, telling her that the greatest gift is having her as a daughter. I think this is one of the most powerful scenes in all of Disney's cinematic history. The cartoon ends with Shang visiting Mulan and asking her to dinner, and Mushu finally being accepted as a guardian spirit. It wrapped up everything perfectly. Instead of coming home with gifts, in the remake, the Emperor's guard and the commander show up, and they give her a new sword. And guess what, guys? The sword has a new perk that she unlocked. It's the family perk, so she's even stronger. She's like a super chi lady. So yeah, I think the remake was trying to be too many things at once and failing at everything simultaneously. It's kind of sad when the Chancellor Shifu from the cartoon had more personality and character than mostly everybody in the remake. I get that animation is kind of tough to transfer into live action, but still, they could have done so much better than this. The remake felt very rushed, the pacing is all off. Granted, the cartoon only had the benefit of being partially music, but there are ways to convey emotion with a character in live action without singing. There were like a couple scenes here and there that lasted like 2 seconds, but for most of the movie it was like, alright, scene, let's get this over with, come on. They almost completely did away with comedy in the remake, which I would be fine with if the other qualities of the film were done well, but they weren't. So it just makes the original cartoon seem that much better. I love the comical spark that Mushu provided as an inept guardian and guide, but they just failed to awake up to fun. This movie is just void of life. I have no desire to watch it, and that's sad. I'm gonna make a bold claim and say Mulan was better than this. But we're also selling it to Canada, which is awesome. Everything is limited stock, so if you want something, you should get it. And yeah, I guess that'll do it for me. Nick, do you remember when you were a superhero?
I don't know what you mean.
Right, my mistake. Wait a minute! What are you wearing? It's so sexy!
Aliens,
do you guys want to look as sexy as Nicolas Cage? I know I want. Well, you can by going to alientoys.com, my personal clothing brand. We are constantly releasing new clothing. Just take a look at all this stuff. We have shirts, we have bucket hats. We've even got matching cyberpunk hoodie and joggers. We got the cool stuff around. Do you like this hat? Do you like this shirt? Do you like this shirt? Well, you can get them at alienclothing.com. And here's a special offer for all my viewers out there. For the next 48 hours, you can use code CAGE at checkout to get 15% off your order. That's right, use code CAGE at checkout and look as sexy as Nicolas Cage. You got it. What code do they have to use, Nick?
Code Cage.
That's right, code CAGE. alienclothing.com. Get something. Today we're traveling back in time to check out the Ghost Rider movies. I've been wanting to make a review on these movies for a long time, and hundreds of you have asked me to make this video, and poor Bippin KC posted this comment. Has he done Ghost Rider? A month has passed, and there have been no replies. So I will reply to you, Bippin KC. Yes, I'm doing Ghost Rider right now for you. I know lots of other people want it, but I'm doing it just for you, Bippin. Because nobody had the common decency to reply to you. I'm just doing this one to my channel. Look. The original Ghost Rider was written and directed by Mark Steven Johnson, the same guy responsible for one of the worst superhero movies ever made, Daredevil. So I guess Mark Steven Johnson is like the king of bad early superheroes. Don't get me wrong, I still really enjoyed Ghost Rider. I think this movie is great. It's cheesy, and back in 2007, superhero movies were not what they are today. They weren't these massive projects with a ton of high-profile celebrities involved. They were seen as goofy and dumb superhero movies, and that's exactly what they are. So Mark was making movies for this genre that didn't hit its stride yet. It just sucks to kick Ghost Rider in the balls with Nicolas Cage as the main actor and give it such a bad reputation so early on, because I would love a third installment with old man angry Nick Cage. Imagine Ghost Rider 3 with the same tone and story, and Nick Cage brings up the same actor. Man, I think there's potential to make an amazing Ghost Rider movie. Just give it another chance. Come on, James Mangold. You know you want to do it, dude. And then you have dumb channels like Looper making videos like this. The real reason Marvel won't give Ghost Rider another movie. And apparently this is what Nicolas Cage had to say when asked if there would be a third installment.
I've said what I have to say. I don't want to say nothing. Anything's possible. But I doubt highly that I would be in a third installment.
So you're telling me there's a chance?
Nah? It's possible? Okay then. It's happening. I think Disney is just scared that there isn't a high enough demand for a movie like this. But I think they would be, if there was a great direction behind it, then hype would probably build. Especially with a really dope trailer, and with the Nicolas Cage renaissance going on right now, with like Mandy, Color Space, Willy's Wonderland, and Pig. Who knows? The story revolves around a guy named Johnny Blaze, who is a stunt motorcycle rider with his dad. As a teenager, he finds out that his dad has cancer. This strange man approaches him and tells him that he can cure his dad's cancer, and all he has to do is sell his soul. This devil is named Mephistopheles. He kind of like tricks Johnny Blaze into signing the contract, like pricking his thumb, and then blood drips onto it. The next day, Johnny finds that his dad's cancer has been cured, but then he's immediately killed in a stunt accident. Lol. F's in the chat. So yeah, the devil's kind of an asshole. He was like, well, I cured his cancer. Years later, Mephistopheles uses Johnny Blaze as his rider to kill his son and enemy, Blackheart. And in return, he promises to return Johnny's soul. And of course, Johnny has no say in this. He's just along for the ride. When Mephistopheles approaches Johnny Blaze at night to propose the contract, his eyes are so weird, it's like the beginning to a porno. I like the way you ride. I'm making these dumb puns because there's a bunch in this movie. They're all over the place. I love how younger Nick Cage looks nothing like older Nick Cage. And you're telling me this guy's supposed to be a teenager? He doesn't look like a teenager to me. Here's a picture of young Nick Cage next to this guy, who they want us to believe is young Nick Cage. Yeah. anything alike. So then we fast forward and Johnny Blaze is in his 30s. We learn that he loves candy. He drinks it out of a wine glass. It's very weird. Maybe he did this in the comics? Who knows? He hates alcohol.
Why don't you have a beer and relax like everybody else?
You know alcohol gives me nightmares.
But he loves howler monkeys. They're all watching TV. They switch the channel on him and he gets really upset.
Oh, wait, could you go back? There's a howler monkey special on Discovery Channel.
He's like, dude, what the hell? Go back to the howler monkeys. Later on in the movie, he's watching another show of a karate monkey. And he's really enjoying it. Like, he's laughing like a crazy person at this karate monkey. I think he likes monkeys a little too much. I watched a YouTube video on the Ghost Rider comics, and most of the stuff in this movie is based. So Johnny Blaze is about to perform an insane stunt on his motorcycle. But before he does it, he pulls a Badlands Chugs and downs the coffee straight from the pitcher. So yeah, then Johnny jumps over like 6 helicopters. Pretty crazy. Wow. Down the street and he's driving so fast that parked cars explode as he passes them and trees just burst into flames. It's probably like his devil energy doing it or something, but I still thought it was funny. The main antagonist in this movie is Blackheart. He's Mephistopheles' son. He's the guy that Johnny has to kill in order to save his soul. So Blackheart has like a band of goons that he travels with, and it's like the evil version of Captain Planet almost. All these demons have a different element that they control. One of them controls air, one of them controls earth, I guess, but he never does anything. And another one controls water. It must have sucked to be this puddle man, because he's always drenched, because he's the water guy. All right, dude, are you ready to film? Yeah, just lay it on me. All right, dude, here we go. Before filming, it must have been so uncomfortable. Then we get the amazing scene of Johnny's transformation into Ghost Rider. Most people are familiar with this scene, even if they haven't seen the movie, because it's been memed so much. He's screaming and laughing like a maniac. I honestly love how he hands it up. The CGI isn't the best, but maybe it was fine for the time. The first demon in Blackheart's band of goons that Ghost Rider kills is Dry Skin Man. I think he controls Earth, but he never does anything, so I'm not sure. All I know is that he could definitely use some moisturizer. He should make love to the Puddle Man. Yeah, he tries to run over Ghost Rider with his truck. Ghost Rider just like gets up and he's like, okay. And he wraps the chain around this guy and he burns him, drying out his already dry skin. Some might even say his skin is
so dry.
That's right. That's right. Ghost Rider then summons his bike with a whistle, like it's a horse from Red Dead Redemption. Then he touches it and it transforms into his signature bike, his cool bike. It's way cooler now. And it's burning. It's on fire. Uh-oh, it might explode. No, it won't, because it's supposed to be on fire. It's devil energy. The love interest in this movie is a girl named Roxanne. And she's played by Eva Mendes. Earlier in the movie, Johnny asked her out on a date, but obviously he's going through some complications right now, so he couldn't make it. Or some might say he
ghosted her.
Sitting alone in this restaurant, Roxanne is feeling kind of down on herself. So she asks the waiter if he thinks that she's pretty, and he goes, meh. What? Even if this guy was gay, he would have to admit that she's obviously beautiful. I mean, I think that's probably the joke, right? Maybe that's like, oh, hey, she's not that pretty. But it's still kind of weird, right? Like, that's a very strange thing for a waiter to say to someone that he's serving. Do you want a tip? Obviously, this movie has a lot of very cheesy dialogue. Sam Elliott is in this movie, and he plays a groundskeeper. He finds Johnny laying next to his father's grave, and he says, do you guys get it? It's funny. Later, he asks Johnny if he's okay, and Johnny replies,
I feel like my skull's on fire.
Wow. And Jesus, Nicolas Cage got ripped for this role. Look at this scene. His body is all like oiled up and tanned. It's like he's about to pose in front of an Abercrombie & Fitch for a couple hours. He then goofs up the scene by biting together. He like pushes up his nose like a weirdo and does this. I guess he's trying to see what he looks like as a skeleton. I love that they weren't afraid to get goofy in this movie. Johnny meets up with Roxanne later on in the movie, and he tells her that he turns into a monster at night.
I sold my soul to the devil.
She calls him crazy and leaves. Her job is a news reporter, and she goes to report on a crazy event that's happening deeper in the city. She finds Ghost Rider, and she immediately comes to the conclusion that that must be Johnny. Because, I mean, he told her that he turns into a monster at night, and he must have been talking about this skeleton that's on fire in front of her. That must be Johnny. That's the only conclusion we can come to. So the police arrest Johnny. They blame him for the Blackheart murders for like no reason. So they throw him in jail. Ghost Rider has this thing called the penance stare. He turns the sins of the evil people that he's looking at against them and burns them from the inside out. So he's locked in a cell full of evil inmates, and he's trying to resist Ghost Rider from taking control. These men know who Johnny Blaze is.
Ayo, hello da, hi, ayo,
because
hello.
He's famous.
Hello,
I guess.
welcome to
Like, there's no other
stream.
reason. They want to beat up a famous person. They have no other problems with them. They just don't like famous people. There's this one kid in there with them, and he's just sitting there like, oh shit, stuff's about to go down. Johnny Blaze then starts laughing maniacally. Everyone in this massive jail cell, aside from the kid, starts beating up on Johnny. And then he explodes into Ghost Rider, killing all of them aside from the kid. I like how the sprinklers activate. It's a nice touch. I love all these scenes when Johnny is trying to resist the Ghost Rider because Nick Cage hams it up like crazy. He's like, oh God, it's taking control. No. So then Ghost Rider escapes prison. He rides his bike away, but then he's cornered by the police. So he just drops into the water and rides on the water like Jesus. And then he rides up the side of a building like Spider-Man. I mean, this bike can travel anywhere. Pretty crazy. So the wind demon comes out of nowhere and he's like, hey, Ghost Rider, you're done for. And then Ghost Rider kills him in like 2 seconds. Before killing him, he says this iconic line.
Time to clear the air.
I love how insane this movie is. In most superhero movies, the heroes are either known to exist in the universe and they coexist with the populace, or they actively try to hide themselves. In this movie, Ghost Rider just goes balls to the wall. Ghost Rider exists, and he doesn't care if the entire world knows. So when Ghost Rider is surrounded by the police, the chief yells, prepare to fire!
Prepare to fire!
I wasn't watching it with captions, and I honestly thought he yelled, pedophile!
Prepare to fire!
And this is right before they light him up. So I'm like, damn. Was there a scene when he like rode past a school too fast or something? Like, what? I was very confused. So remember the groundskeeper from earlier? It turns out he's Carter Slade, the original Ghost Rider. He's like this Western cowboy version that rides on a horse. Carter Slade was saving his one last transformation to ride off with Johnny Blaze to face Blackheart. Except they don't face him together. Yeah, Carter Slade just wanted to ride with him. He didn't want to fight or anything. He just wanted to chill with him for a while as a Ghost Rider. I was kind of let down by this. I think it'd be cool if he showed up at some point and did something, but he doesn't. He does give Johnny his repeater though. So Carter Slade gives the Scroll of Souls to Johnny Blaze, and then he fucks off. Ghost Rider is like riding through a swamp and he gets bamboozled by the puddle demon. He kills him in half a second. It's like just a minor inconvenience. He eventually encounters Blackheart. Dun, dun, dun. But the sun is rising and he can only become Ghost Rider in the dark, in the shadows. Blackheart kidnapped Roxanne, and all he wants is the scroll to become a super demon. So Johnny Blaze gives him the scroll in exchange for Roxanne, and he uses the scroll to absorb all 1,000 souls from the contract, and he turns into a red-eyed cringe lord named Legion. The effects leave a lot to be desired. Most of the effects on Blackheart are pretty bad, but whatever. So you know those memes that are going around of like a character saying the name of the movie that they're in as if it's like actual dialogue from the movie, but it's not. It's just to confuse people, with like Frodo saying, I am the Lord of the Rings. Well, in this movie, they do that. Like they do the meme.
I'm Ghost Rider.
What, we some kind of
Why play video on background? അളയാ ഒന്നുമില്ല. എനിക്ക് സത്യം പറഞ്ഞ ആൾക്കാരടുത്ത് സംസാരിക്കാൻ വലുതായിട്ടൊന്നും ഇല്ല. ലൈക്ക് സോ അതുകൊണ്ട് ഞാൻ പിന്നെ ഓൾസോ എനിക്ക് ഒറ്റയ്ക്ക് ഇങ്ങനെ ഇരുന്ന് കളിക്കുന്നത് ഭയങ്കര ബോറിംഗ് ആയി തോന്നും. സോ അതുകൊണ്ട് ഫോർ ബാക്ക്ഗ്രൗണ്ടിൽ ഇരുന്ന ആൾക്കാർക്ക് എന്തെങ്കിലും കേൾക്കുന്നുണ്ടെങ്കിൽ എന്നിട്ട് ആ വീഡിയോ എല്ലാം അഥവാ അവർക്ക് ഇഷ്ടപ്പെട്ട് അവർ കാണാൻ പോകുന്നുണ്ടെങ്കിൽ ഉള്ള രീതിയിൽ. ആൻഡ് ഓൾസോ ഞാൻ കളിക്കുമ്പം എനിക്ക് എന്തെങ്കിലും ജസ്റ്റ് ലൈക്ക് ഒരു ഡിസ്ട്രാക്ഷൻ പോലെ ഇരിക്കാൻ വേണ്ടിയിട്ടാണ് ഞാൻ വീഡിയോ വെച്ചേക്കുന്നത് എപ്പോഴും ബാക്ക്ഗ്രൗണ്ടിൽ. യെസ്, ഐ ഗെസ് സംടൈംസ് വോളിയം നല്ല ഞാൻ കൂട്ടിയിടും, അത് മാത്രമേ ഉള്ളൂ പ്രശ്നം. വല്ല പ്രശ്നമൊന്നും ആരും ഇപ്പൊ കളിക്കുന്നില്ലേ?
And he delivers this epic speech.
I'm gonna own this curse, and I'm gonna use it against you.
Overall, I found this movie cheesy, badass, and incredibly entertaining. Okay, so now is the time we're talking about the sequel, Ghost Rider.
Spirit of Vengeance.
That's right. So there's this random guy named Moreau, and he rides his bike into Hogwarts. The place gets raided by soldiers, and they're led by this guy. He has very beautiful hair. It's very
mechanized and ready to go.
This morning, he says, "Wow, I'm jealous." It's like he's straight out of
All
Final
good.
Fantasy or something. And these guys are
നിങ്ങൾക്ക് വീഡിയോ റെക്കമെൻഡേഷൻസ് ഉണ്ടെങ്കിൽ എനിക്ക് അയച്ചു തരുക, ഞാൻ വീഡിയോ ബാക്ക്ഗ്രൗണ്ടിൽ പ്ലേ ചെയ്യുന്നതായിരിക്കും. എനിക്കറിയില്ല, ഞാൻ വെറുതെ ലൈക്ക് ബി സിയിൽ ഡിസ്കോഡിലോ എല്ലാം ആണെങ്കിൽ ഞാൻ മാക്സിമം ലൈക്ക് ഏതെങ്കിലും ബി സിയിലാണെങ്കിൽ ഞാനതിൽ ചെയ്യാത്തില്ല. ബട്ട് ഒറ്റയ്ക്ക് കളിക്കുമ്പം ലൈക്ക് എന്തെങ്കിലും ഒരു ഡിസ്ട്രാക്ഷൻ വേണം, ലൈക്ക് ജസ്റ്റ് ഗെയിംസ് കളിച്ചുകൊണ്ടിരിക്കുമ്പോൾ അതിന് അല്ലെങ്കിൽ ചാറ്റ്. പക്ഷെ ഞാൻ എപ്പോഴും ചാറ്റ് നോക്കാറില്ലാത്തതുകൊണ്ട് അത് ലൈക്ക് ഭയങ്കര രസം.
the same two men who wrote and directed the movie Crank. So you know that they mean business. Brian Taylor was the brains behind the amazing Nicolas Cage movie Mom and Dad. You guys remember the review I made on that movie, right? He's got a hard-on for Sawzall, I guess. And Mark Neveldine was responsible for the movie Gamer. Remember the movie Gamer? Yeah? So you already know that if these two guys directed this movie, that it's got it. This movie is less of a sequel than it's like another Ghost Rider. You know what I mean? So the rules are broken a little bit in this movie. So Moreau visits Johnny Blaze in his hideout and tasks him with saving the child.
He's in danger, and for more than his life.
And in return, he will help Johnny lift his curse. Even though in the original movie he had the opportunity to get rid of it, but he decided not to. So, oh, and the devil's name is Rourke in this movie. It isn't Mephistopheles anymore. That's kind of weird. In the comics, it's Mephistopheles. Maybe Rourke comes later in the comics. I don't know. But the origin story is the same, but his name is just Rourke now. I like the name Mephistopheles more.
Energy levels are high. Let's get started.
Their names are Nadia and
Yeah!
Because Ghost Rider could kill all these guys very easily. And get his soul back.
Make some noise!
Right. No.
careful.
Definitely pull a gun on the person that I know to a burning skeleton monster. If I were her, I would just be running for my life. But Johnny is able to convince her.
All right. Everybody gets one, I guess. Double kill. That's a yikes for me, dog.
I'm not sure how he could know this, but she tells him what she knows. She calls the devil.
Yo, the squad is carrying.
Visited by Rourke just like Johnny was. The devil
Top 10 anime betrayal.
out of mana. And runs. Danny jumps and breaks his ankle, so Kerrigan is able to catch up with him.
You're insane!
Wow.
Good one. Dribble. Dibble. Rampage!
രണ്ട് അസിസ്റ്റ് ആയതേ ഉള്ളൂ ആ ലേറ്റ് ഗെയിം.
An enemy has been slain. Oh, it must be the shoes. Shut down. Yo, the squad is carrying. Enemy has been slain. Everything okay? simple, right?
And they just miss this obvious.
Man, top 10 anime betrayals right there. An ally has been slain.
I guess. So yeah.
I don't.
Feel the squad is carrying.
And then one of the soldiers uses a flashbang on him, and then something really weird happens.
An enemy has been slain. Man, top 10 anime betrayals right there. Dipple? You're insane! Yo, the squad is carrying! An enemy has been slain.
Wow, it emanates great power.
Top 10 anime betrayals. They didn't read the patch notes. Don't worry, this is a warm-up. The squad is carrying.
I like it.
An ally has been slain. An enemy has been slain. Double kill. You're insane. Yo, the squad is carrying. Won't be seeing them on the battleground for a while.
I don't understand.
Okay, let's tighten. All right. Everybody gets one. Yeah. Yo, it must be the shoes.
Wow, it emanates great power. Darn
You have slain an enemy. Been slain. Double kill. Shut up, Rick. You're insane.
Using his eyes.
Retreat.
Oh, an upgrade. I like it.
Shows up. Hey, what's up, Moreau? There
Man,
he is on
top
site.
10 anime
He
betrayals right
leads
there.
them to a canyon, and it's full of his priest friends. Johnny Blaze them.
Good one.
Actually, corrupted angels
You're
that was
insane.
originally
Yo, the squad is carrying. Double kill. You're insane. Everything okay? Time to try hard, go die hard. An ally has been slain.
Shutting down.
Nani?
Ah,
No, it must be the shooter.
bounce ആയിരുന്നെങ്കിൽ I think ഒരു kill കിട്ടുമായിരുന്നു.
Eliminate great power.
Enemy spot. You're insane. An enemy has been slain. You've slain an enemy.
Justice.
All right. Everybody gets one, I guess. You have been double kill. Everything okay?
Mega suit in critical
Top 10 anime
danger.
betrayals right there. You're insane! Good one. Enemy has been slain. Yo, the squad is carrying.
Bonus round. Get ready to fight. Five, 4, 3, 2, 1. Fight.
Double kill. Enemy has been slain. No, it must be the shoes. Dipple. Dipple. You're insane.
അവര് ബോണസ് റൗണ്ട് ചെയ്യിച്ചല്ലേ.
30 seconds remaining.
Hell yes.
And then he says, I'm the Ghost Rider.
I'm the Ghost Rider.
So yeah, that's the second movie. I didn't like it as much as the first, but there's still some solid games and some fun action. This isn't the last time we've seen Ghost Rider on screen. He's currently in the show Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. as the Robbie Reyes version of Ghost Rider, but what I wouldn't do to see Nicolas Cage play Johnny Blaze again. So yeah, guys, that will do it for this video. Thank you so much for watching. Anything else you want to say, Nick?
I am.
Hell yeah. Don't forget to check out the coolest clothing on earth over at alienclothing.com and let me know if there's any other
mechanized and ready to go.
See you guys.
Mechanized and ready to go.
Here's a picture of what Nick Cage. Here's a Pickles. Nicolas Cage. Ghost Rider then summons his bike like it's a whistle. I love simulation movies. The Matrix, Dark City, stuff like that. Love it. When I saw a trailer for the movie Bliss, I thought it was so down my alley. How could it go wrong? I love this shit. And so I watched it, and I didn't like it. In fact, I hated it. Did I hate it as much as you hate my mustache? Probably not.
VC baya. Okay. Sorry.
He's the brains behind Another Earth and I Origins. So he remember the red and blue.
എനിക്ക് തോന്നുന്നു PR വെച്ചാണെങ്കിൽ കാനഡ ആയിരിക്കുള്ളൂ. സെറ്റിൽ ആവാനാണെങ്കിൽ കാനഡ ആയിരിക്കുള്ളൂ. ഇപ്പം ജോലി കിട്ടാനാണെങ്കിൽ UK ആയിരിക്കുള്ളൂ എന്ന് തോന്നുന്നു. എനിക്ക് വലിയ പിടുത്തമില്ല. ഞാൻ അന്വേഷിച്ച് വെച്ചിട്ട് കാനഡയിൽ ജോലി കിട്ടാൻ പാടാണെന്നാണ് പറയുന്നത്. കാര്യം UK-യിലുള്ളവരല്ലേ എൻ്റെ അടുത്ത് പറയുന്നത്. അപ്പൊ അവർ UK സപ്പോർട്ട് ചെയ്തായിരിക്കുമല്ലോ പറയുന്നത്. എനിക്ക് വലിയ വ്യത്യാസം തോന്നുന്നില്ല. രണ്ടാണെങ്കിലും നല്ല ഓപ്ഷനാണ്. പിന്നെ ഈ UK പറ്റി നിന്റെ അടുത്ത് പറഞ്ഞെന്നാൾ പറഞ്ഞത് കള്ളത്തരാണ്. എന്തായാലും നീ പഠിച്ചു കഴിഞ്ഞാൽ രണ്ടുമല്ല നിൽക്കാൻ പറ്റും. അത് ഉറപ്പാണ്.
പഠിച്ചു കഴിഞ്ഞാൽ
ഇത് കിട്ടിയ ജോലിയുടെ സ്കോളർഷിപ്പ് അങ്ങനെ എന്തെങ്കിലും കിട്ടിയാൽ 2 വർഷം നിൽക്കാൻ പറ്റും.
പഠിച്ചിട്ട് രാവിലെ ഞാൻ പറഞ്ഞത് ഞാൻ കഷ്ടപ്പാടാണ്. കുറെ നാൾക്ക് ശേഷം ഇങ്ങോട്ട് എത്തി ചെയ്യും.
അതെ, അവൻ എന്നെയും പിങ്ക് ചെയ്തായിരുന്നു കുറെ കാലം ശേഷം.
അങ്ങനെ അറിയാവുന്ന ആർക്കും ജോലി കിട്ടിയില്ല. അങ്ങനെയൊക്കെ ജോലി കിട്ടും തോന്നുന്നുണ്ടോ? എന്തുകൊണ്ടിപ്പോ ഒരു അവസ്ഥ ഉണ്ടോ? അല്ല, ഞാൻ അവൻ്റെ അടുത്ത് പറഞ്ഞ് അവൻ അറിയാവുന്ന ആർക്ക് ഇതുവരെ ജോലി കിട്ടിയില്ല, പൈസ മുതൽ ചെലവാക്കി വരണ്ടെന്ന് അവൻ പറയുള്ളൂ. അങ്ങനെയൊക്കെ
ജോലി കിട്ടി കഴിഞ്ഞാൽ അവൻ പറഞ്ഞു ഏത് കോഴ്സ് നോക്കുന്നത്?
എനിക്ക് അങ്ങനെ പ്രിഫറൻസ് ഒന്നും ഇല്ലടാ സത്യം പറഞ്ഞ. ലൈക്ക് ഹോട്ടൽ മാനേജ്മെന്റ് പഠിക്കണമെന്നുണ്ട്. സോ അതായിരിക്കും.
അല്ല, ഹോട്ടൽ മാനേജ്മെന്റ് വീഡിയോ ഇട്ടായിരുന്നില്ല, അതിലൊരുത്തൻ പറയുന്നത് ഹോട്ടൽ മാനേജ്മെന്റ് ഭയങ്കര സ്കോപ്പ് ഉള്ളതാ. കാരണം വിശപ്പ് ഉള്ളിടത്ത് ആളും മനുഷ്യന്മാർക്ക് കാണൂല്ലോ.
ഇല്ല, ബട്ട് ഹോട്ടൽ മാനേജ്മെന്റ് എനിക്കറിയത്തില്ല. മേ ബി പഠിക്കണമെന്നുണ്ട്. ബട്ട് മോർ ഓൺ ദ ലൈൻ ഐ വോണ്ട് കളഞ്ഞറി. ബട്ട് എനിക്കറിയത്തില്ല ഞാൻ അത് ഹോബി ആയിട്ട് വെക്കണോ അതോ ഒരു കരിയർ പാത്ത് നോക്കണോ. ടു ബി ഓണസ്റ്റ് ഇല്ല. ലൈക്ക് ഐ മീൻ ദർ മേ ലൈക്ക് ന്യൂ ടെക്നോളജീസ് ഒക്കെ ആണെങ്കിൽ ഓക്കെ. ബട്ട് ആസ് ഓഫ് നൗ ഇപ്പോഴത്തെ ടെക്നോളജീസ് എനിക്ക് വലിയ താല്പര്യമൊന്നുമില്ല വർക്ക് ചെയ്യാൻ. ഐ ഗെസ് ഐ മീൻ പാഷൻ പ്രോജക്ട്സ് പോലെ വർക്ക് ചെയ്യാം. ലൈക്ക് ഇങ്ങനെ പട്ടിയെ പോലെ പണിയെടുക്കുന്ന രീതിയിൽ വർക്ക് ചെയ്യാൻ ഭയങ്കര ബുദ്ധിമുട്ടുണ്ട്. കാരണം മടുക്കും എടാ. എത്ര താല്പര്യം ഉണ്ടെന്ന് പറഞ്ഞാലും കുറച്ച് കഴിഞ്ഞാൽ മടുക്കും.
ഞാനിപ്പോ നോക്കുന്നതെന്ന് വെച്ചാൽ ബിസിനസ് അനാലിറ്റിക്സ് വർക്ക്
BA ആണെങ്കിൽ BA IT-യും ഒരു ഇതാണല്ലോ, ലൈക്ക് ഐ മീൻ IT-യിലുണ്ട് BA, സോ എനിക്ക് അത് വെച്ചിട്ട് റെസ്പെക്ട് വെച്ച് പറയാൻ പറ്റും.
അനാലിറ്റിക്സ് IT-യുടെ ബേസ് തന്നെയാണ്. ബിസിനസ് അനാലിറ്റിക്സോ അതേപോലത്തെ എന്തെങ്കിലും നോക്കാന്നാ വിചാരിക്കുന്നത്.
അതിന് കോഴ്സസ് ആയിട്ടുണ്ടോ എനിക്കറിയത്തില്ല.
അതിന് മാസ്റ്റേഴ്സ് ഉണ്ട്, പോസ്റ്റ് ഗ്രാജുവേറ്റ് ഉണ്ട്.
ഹോട്ടൽ മാനേജ്മെന്റ് ബാക്ക്ഗ്രൗണ്ട് ഉണ്ടെന്നോ?
എനിക്കറിയത്തില്ല
വേണ്ടെന്നാണ് എന്റെ വിശ്വാസം.
എളുപ്പമുള്ള കോഴ്സ് എന്ന് പറയുന്നത്
എളുപ്പമൊന്നും അല്ല, ബട്ട് ഐ മീൻ എല്ലാത്തിനും അതിൻ്റെതായ ബുദ്ധിമുട്ടുണ്ട്.
ഉണ്ട്, പക്ഷെ കമ്പാരിറ്റീവ്ലി ലൈക്ക് ഈ കമ്പ്യൂട്ടർ സയൻസിന്റെ മാസ്റ്റേഴ്സ് എടുക്കാനും MBA ഒക്കെ പഠിക്കാൻ പോണത് വെച്ച് നോക്കാൻ എളുപ്പമാണ്. ഇനി പെട്ടെന്ന് തീരുമാനം എടുക്കണം, ഈ ഒരു 2 ആഴ്ചക്കുള്ളിൽ തീരുമാനം എടുക്കണം.
ഞാൻ പറഞ്ഞു എനിക്ക് എന്തായാലും പ്രശ്നമില്ല. എന്തിനാ തീരുമാനം എടുക്കുന്നത്? ഞാൻ എന്തായാലും പഠിക്കാൻ റെഡിയാണ്. എനിക്ക് എന്തെങ്കിലുമൊക്കെ പഠിച്ചാൽ മതി. എനിക്ക് അങ്ങനെ വലിയ നിർബന്ധമൊന്നുമില്ല.
നിനക്ക് ഉള്ളിലൊരു
സത്യം പറഞ്ഞാൽ എനിക്ക് അങ്ങനെയൊന്നുമില്ല. ഞാൻ പറഞ്ഞു 2 വർഷം ജോലി എടുത്തപ്പോൾ തന്നെ എനിക്ക് മതിയായി. എൻ്റെ ഏതായാലും പട്ടിപ്പണിയായിരിക്കും.
ഞാൻ വിചാരിക്കുന്നതെന്ന് വെച്ചാൽ ഒരു കോഴ്സ് എങ്ങനെയാണെന്ന്, 1 വർഷമാണെങ്കിൽ 1 വർഷം, 2 വർഷമാണെങ്കിൽ 2 വർഷം പഠിച്ചുകൊണ്ട് തന്നെ പാർട്ട് ടൈം ചെയ്യുമ്പോൾ തന്നെ കുറെ ആ കാനഡയിലൊക്കെ ആണെങ്കിൽ പാർട്ട് ടൈം കിട്ടിക്കഴിഞ്ഞാൽ സെറ്റാണ്. അതൊരു അതിൻ്റെ അവിടുത്തെ ഈ എക്സ്പെൻസും കുറച്ച് സേവ്, നീ ആഹാരമൊക്കെ സമയത്ത് കുക്ക് ചെയ്യുകയാണെങ്കിൽ നിനക്ക് കയ്യിൽ കുറച്ച് കാശും കാണും. അപ്പോൾ കുറച്ച് സേവ് ചെയ്യാൻ പറ്റും എന്നാണ് എൻ്റെ വിശ്വാസം. കാരണം എനിക്കറിയാവുന്ന ഒരു ചേട്ടൻ അതേപോലെ പോയി സേവ് ചെയ്ത ടീടയ്ക്ക് ആ ചേട്ടൻ്റെ അമ്മയ്ക്ക് എന്തോ കാലിൽ ഓപ്പറേഷൻ വന്നപ്പോൾ ചേട്ടൻ 2 ലക്ഷം രൂപ അയച്ചു. അങ്ങനെ ചിന്തിക്കുകയാണെങ്കിൽ കൊള്ളാം. പക്ഷെ
നിങ്ങളെല്ലാവരും നിങ്ങളുടെ സ്പെഷ്യലൈസേഷൻസ് തീരുമാനിച്ചായിരുന്നു?
വേറെ MBA ഉറപ്പിച്ച്, അല്ലെങ്കിൽ മാനേജ്മെന്റ് ബേസ്ഡ് എന്തായിരിക്കും ചേരാൻ പഠിക്കാൻ പോണെന്ന്. സൈബർ സെക്യൂരിറ്റി പഠിക്കാൻ പോകണം.
തീരുമാനിച്ചില്ല. ഇനി അവിടെ പോയി ഇങ്ങനെ പാടാണെങ്കിൽ
കാനഡയിലെ പ്രത്യേകത എന്ന് വെച്ചാല് നീ ഇപ്പൊ ഒരു സബ്ജക്ട് ചൂസ് ചെയ്താ എനിക്ക് ഇഷ്ടപ്പെട്ടില്ല, ഒരാഴ്ച എന്തോ സമയമുണ്ട് എനിക്ക് മാറ്റാൻ. അങ്ങനെ കാനഡയിൽ മാത്രമേ അങ്ങനെ ഉള്ളൂ എന്നാ ഞാൻ അറിഞ്ഞു. ഞാൻ സൈബർ സെക്യൂരിറ്റി ആദ്യം എനിക്ക് താല്പര്യമായിരുന്നു. പിന്നെ ഏതോ ഒരു സിലബസ് എന്തോ കണ്ടപ്പോഴാണ് തിയറി ഓഫ് കമ്പ്യൂട്ടേഷനൊക്കെ ഏതെന്തോ കിടക്കുന്നുണ്ടായിരുന്നു. തിയറി ഓഫ് കമ്പ്യൂട്ടേഷൻ ആണോ ക്രിപ്റ്റോ ആണോ ഏതോ ഓർമ്മയില്ലായിരുന്നു. ക്രിപ്റ്റോ ആണെന്ന് തോന്നുന്നു, എന്തോ കിടപ്പുണ്ടായിരുന്നു. നമ്മൾ ഇവിടെ വെച്ച് പഠിച്ച പോലെ ആണെങ്കിൽ എനിക്ക് കുഴപ്പമില്ല. മൊത്തം പാടാന്നാ ഞാൻ കുറെ വായിച്ചപ്പോൾ അറിഞ്ഞു. അതുകൊണ്ട് സാധാ പ്രോഗ്രാമിങ്ങിനെ കാട്ടിയും പാടാന്നൊക്കെ അറിഞ്ഞു. അപ്പൊ എനിക്ക് എന്തോ റിസ്ക് എടുക്കാമെന്ന് പറഞ്ഞിട്ട് ഞാൻ പിന്നെ ബിസിനസ് അനാലിറ്റിക്സ് എടുത്തു. അതാകുമ്പം നല്ല കോഴ്സ്.
നിനക്ക് ലൈക്ക് കുറെ മിസ്ലീനിയസ് കാര്യങ്ങൾ അറിഞ്ഞിരിക്കണം ബിസിനസ് അനാലിറ്റിക്സ്.
എന്തൊക്കെയാണ് അപ്ഡേറ്റ് ആയിട്ട് അറിയണം.
അല്ല നിനക്ക് ആൾക്കാരുടെ സംസാരിക്കാൻ ആക്ച്വലി നല്ലോണം അറിയണം. ലൈക്ക് ആൾക്കാരെ ഡീൽ ചെയ്യാൻ ആക്ച്വലി നല്ലോണം അറിയണം. കാരണം ബിസിനസ് അനാലിറ്റിക്സ് നീ ലൈക്ക് എസ്പെഷ്യലി എനിക്ക് IT-ന്റെ ഇത് വെച്ചാൽ പറയാൻ പറ്റൂ. ലൈക്ക് ദേ യൂഷ്വലി ക്ലയൻറ്റ് ആളുടെ ടോക്ക് ചെയ്യും. ലൈക്ക് നീ സംസാരിക്കുന്ന അനുസരിച്ചാണ് ആ ക്ലയൻറ്റ് നിന്റെ പ്രോഡക്റ്റ് എടുക്കണോ വേണ്ടയോ, വേറെ ആളുടെ അടുത്ത് പോകണോ, അല്ലെങ്കിൽ ലൈക്ക് അങ്ങനെയൊക്കെ ഇരിക്കും. സോ നിനക്ക് നല്ലോണം സംസാരിക്കാനും അറിഞ്ഞിരിക്കണം.
ഞാനിപ്പം ഒരു ഇത് ഏജൻസിയായിട്ട് കോണ്ടാക്ട് ചെയ്തു. അപ്പോൾ ഞാൻ പറഞ്ഞ് എനിക്ക് മാനേജ്മെന്റ് ബേസ്ഡ് ഇഷ്ടമാണ്, ബിസിനസ് അനാലിറ്റിക്സ് ബേസ്ഡ് ഇഷ്ടമാണ്, പ്രോജക്ട് മാനേജ്മെന്റ്, സൈബർ സെക്യൂരിറ്റി അങ്ങനെയൊക്കെ പറഞ്ഞു. അപ്പോൾ അവര് കുറെ കോളേജസിൻ്റെ അയച്ചു യൂണിവേഴ്സിറ്റികളെ.
നിങ്ങൾ രാജ്യം തീരുമാനിച്ചാ? കാരണം നിങ്ങൾ സ്കോളർഷിപ്പ് എന്തെങ്കിലും നോക്കുന്നുണ്ടോ?
ഞാൻ അന്വേഷിച്ച് വെച്ചിട്ട് പുറത്ത് നീ പഠിക്കാൻ പോയി കഴിഞ്ഞാൽ സ്കോളർഷിപ്പ് കിട്ടാൻ പൊതുവെ പാടാണ്. പിന്നെ കിട്ടിക്കഴിഞ്ഞാലും കിട്ടുന്ന സ്കോളർഷിപ്പ് സ്റ്റഡീസിന് മാത്രമേ യൂസ് ചെയ്യാൻ പറ്റുള്ളൂ. അത് 1 year 3K.
അതന്നെ, നീ സ്റ്റഡീസിനല്ലേ പോണത്?
അങ്ങനല്ലടാ, കോളേജ് തന്നെ യൂണിവേഴ്സിറ്റി അല്ലെങ്കിൽ ആ കോളേജ് തന്നെ ആയിരിക്കും നിനക്ക് ഇത് തരണം. അപ്പം ഒരു ചെറിയ എമൗണ്ട് തന്നെ ആയിരിക്കും കിട്ടണം. ഇത് 3K, മനസ്സിലായോ? അങ്ങനെ ഈ കാനഡയിൽ ഞാൻ അന്വേഷിച്ച് പറഞ്ഞതെന്ന് വെച്ചാൽ 3K ഒക്കെയാണ് മാക്സിമം കൊടുക്കുന്നതാണ് പെർ ഇയർ.
3K പെർ ഇയർ എന്ന് പറയുമ്പം
3 Canadian 3K
എത്ര വരും? എനിക്ക് റേറ്റ് അറിയത്തില്ല.
1,81,000.
അത്ര കിട്ടൂ?
കുറവാണത്. പക്ഷെ എടാ, നമ്മൾ ഇന്ത്യൻ്റെ ഒരിക്കലും കറൻസി കൺവേർട്ട് ചെയ്യില്ല. ഞാൻ ഇന്ന് അറിഞ്ഞെന്ന് വെച്ചാലേ ഒരു ലാപ്ടോപ്പ് വാങ്ങണ വിലയാണ് ഈ 3K. അതും കുറഞ്ഞ ഒരു ലാപ്ടോപ്പ് കാനഡയിൽ.
1 ലക്ഷം രൂപ. നമ്മളിവിടെ 1 ലക്ഷം രൂപ തന്നെയല്ലേ?
അല്ല, 1,80,000 നിനക്കൊരു നല്ല ഗെയിമിംഗ് ലാപ്ടോപ്പ് കിട്ടും. അവിടെ നല്ല ഗെയിമിംഗ് ലാപ്ടോപ്പ് അല്ല, ഒരു സാധാ മോഡറേറ്റ് ലാപ്ടോപ്പിനാണ് ഇത്ര വില എന്നാണ് ഞാൻ അറിഞ്ഞത്. ഞാൻ ഒന്ന് അന്വേഷിച്ചു കൊടുക്കും. കാരണം ഇന്ന് എൻ്റെ അടുത്തൊരു ആൻറ്റി പറഞ്ഞു അവിടെ നിന്ന് ലാപ്ടോപ്പ് വാങ്ങാൻ പോവാണ്, കത്തിയാണെന്ന്.
അവിടെ ഞാനിപ്പം കുറച്ചു കാലം കാനഡയുടെ കാര്യം അറിഞ്ഞത്, കുറച്ച് കാലമായിട്ട് ലൈക്ക് ആൾക്കാർക്ക് ലിവിങ് മറ്റേ ഫ്രീ ഹെൽത്ത് കെയർ ഉണ്ട് ഗ്രാൻഡഡ്, ബട്ട് ബാക്കിയുള്ളെല്ലാം ലൈക്ക് ഭയങ്കര ഇതാണെന്ന്. ഓവർ സാച്ചുറേറ്റഡ് അല്ല, ക്ലൈമറ്റ് അല്ല, ലിവിങ് എക്സ്പെൻസസ്. ലൈക്ക് ഹെൽത്ത് കെയർ ഫ്രീ ആണ്, യെസ്, ബട്ട് ബാക്കിയുള്ള എല്ലാ കാര്യങ്ങളും
ഫ്രീ ആണ്. പക്ഷെ അതിനും കുറെ പ്രശ്നം അവര് പറയണ എന്താന്ന് വെച്ചാല്, കാനഡയിൽ ഉള്ള എന്ന് വെച്ചാൽ കാനഡ ഭയങ്കര ചീപ്പ് എന്ന് പറയാ, ഭയങ്കര ഇതായിരുന്നു എന്ന് വെച്ചാൽ ഇന്ത്യയായിട്ട് കമ്പയർ ചെയ്യല്ലേ. അല്ലാതെ പറയുകയാണെങ്കിൽ ബാക്കി കൺട്രീസ് കമ്പയർ ചെയ്യുകയാണെങ്കിൽ പൊതുവെ ചീപ്പായിരുന്നു അവിടുത്തെ ലൈക്ക് റെന്റ് ടാക്സും എല്ലാം. അപ്പം കൺട്രി ഇങ്ങനെ ഇപ്പം ആൾക്കാർ വന്ന് അവിടെ റിയൽ എസ്റ്റേറ്റിന് ഭയങ്കര റേറ്റ് കൂടിയപ്പോൾ ഈ ആൾക്കാർ എന്ത് ചെയ്യുന്നു വെച്ചാൽ സ്വന്തം സ്ഥലങ്ങളില്ലേ അതവർ അവിടെ നിന്ന് വിറ്റിട്ട് US അല്ലെങ്കിൽ വേറെ കൺട്രിയിലോട്ട് മാറും. അങ്ങനെ മാറി അവിടെ റിയൽ എസ്റ്റേറ്റും എല്ലാം ഫക്ടപ്പായപ്പം ഭയങ്കരമായിട്ട് എല്ലാത്തിനും വില കൂടി. അതാണ് സംഭവിച്ചത്. അവിടെ താമസിക്കുന്ന ആൾക്കാർ അവരുടെ എസ്റ്റേറ്റും സ്ഥലവും എല്ലാം വിറ്റിട്ട് വേറെ രാജ്യത്ത് പോവാ പൈസ കിട്ടും എന്ന് വെച്ചാൽ. കാരണം കുറേ നല്ല കാശ് കിട്ടും. പിന്നെ അവിടുത്തെ വീട് കൺസ്ട്രക്ട് ചെയ്യണത് ഗവൺമെന്റ് ആണ്, പ്രൈവറ്റ് ആൾക്കാരല്ല, മനസ്സിലായോ? ഞാൻ അത്ര എൻ്റെ അടുത്ത് പറഞ്ഞു വെച്ചിട്ടാണെങ്കിൽ നല്ല സാധനം കിട്ടണ്ടേ. അല്ല, ജോലി ചെയ്തല്ല, അവര് ബിസിനസ് അനലിറ്റിക്സ് പഠിക്കാനായിട്ടാ പോയത് അങ്ങോട്ട്.
എങ്ങനെ ഉണ്ടെന്ന് പറഞ്ഞു?
അവര് തുടങ്ങിയില്ല, അവര് ബാങ്ക് അക്കൗണ്ട് ഒക്കെ സെറ്റ് ആക്കുക.
പോയതോ?
പോയിട്ട് 19-ാം തീയതി പോയത്. ബാങ്ക് അക്കൗണ്ട് ഒക്കെ സെറ്റ് ആക്കുക. പിന്നെ പാർട്ട് ടൈമിന് വേണ്ടി അവര് റെസ്യൂമേ ഉണ്ടാക്കുക. നമ്മുടെ റെസ്യൂമേ അല്ല, അവിടെ പോയി കഴിഞ്ഞിട്ട് അവരെ റെസ്യൂമേ ഉണ്ടാക്കണം. അവരെ വേസ്റ്റ് കുറെ സംഭവങ്ങളൊക്കെ ഉണ്ട്. അപ്പോൾ അങ്ങനെ പിന്നെ നമ്മുടെ കോളേജിൽ പോകണം കേട്ടോ. നമ്മുടെ കോളേജിൽ പോയി റെക്കമെൻഡേഷൻ വാങ്ങണം HOD-യുടെ.
പിന്നെ വാങ്ങാം.
രണ്ട് എനിക്ക് ആക്ച്വലി ആദ്യം ഞാൻ വിചാരിച്ചെന്ന് വെച്ചാൽ ഓസ്ട്രേലിയ പോകുന്നതായിരുന്നു. പിന്നെ കുറച്ചുകൂടെ അന്വേഷിച്ചപ്പം കാനഡ ആണ് കുറച്ചും കൂടെ ബെറ്റർ എന്ന് തോന്നി. പക്ഷെ UK ഞാൻ എൻ്റെ ലിസ്റ്റിലുണ്ടായിരുന്നു, UK പോകണമെന്നുണ്ടായിരുന്നു. UK ഞാൻ ഭയങ്കര തിരക്കാണെന്ന് പറഞ്ഞു. ലൈക്ക് UK-ൽ തിരക്കെന്ന് വെച്ചാൽ മാനെ ഇൻടേക്ക് ഭയങ്കര കൂടുതലാണ്. നീ വിചാരിക്കണ പോലെ അല്ല, നമുക്ക് ജോലി കിട്ടൂല, മനസ്സിലായ? നീ അവിടെ പഠിച്ചു കഴിഞ്ഞാൽ ജോലി കിട്ടൂല, അതാണ് സംഭവം. കാരണം നീ പഠിക്കണ ഫീൽഡിൽ തന്നെ കുറെ ഇന്ത്യൻസ് ഓൾറെഡി ഉണ്ട്. അവിടെ ആ ജോലി കിട്ടാത്ത തന്നെ കുറെ ആൾക്കാരുണ്ട്. അപ്പൊ ഇങ്ങനെ പാസ് ഔട്ട് ആകുമ്പോൾ അങ്ങനെ കുറെ പ്രശ്നമുണ്ട്. കാനഡയിൽ ഇല്ലെന്നല്ല പറയുന്നത്, കാനഡയിലുള്ള കുഴപ്പമുണ്ട്. ഇതെന്ന് വെച്ചാൽ മിക്ക ആൾക്കാരും കാനഡയിൽ പഠിക്കാൻ പറഞ്ഞാൽ ലൈക്ക് MBA മാനേജ്മെന്റ് അതൊക്കെ പഠിച്ചിട്ട് മിക്കവരും അവരുടെ നാട്ടിലോട്ട് പോകും. അങ്ങനെയാണ് ഞാൻ അറിഞ്ഞത്. കാനഡയിൽ
പഠിച്ചിട്ട് തിരിച്ച് നാട്ടിൽ വന്ന മണ്ടത്തരോ
അങ്ങനെ പോകുന്ന ആൾക്കാരുണ്ടോ?
ഇല്ല, ഇവിടെ വന്നിട്ട് ഇവിടെ ഹയർ പോസ്റ്റ് എടുക്കും. കാരണം ഇവിടെ ആണെങ്കിൽ അറ്റ്ലീസ്റ്റ് അങ്ങനെ കുറെ സെക്യൂരിറ്റീസ് കാര്യങ്ങൾ അങ്ങനെയുണ്ട്. സോ ജസ്റ്റ് ജോബ് സെക്യൂരിറ്റി മാത്രം അവര് ഇത് ചെയ്യുന്നു, ലൈക്ക് എൻഷുർ ചെയ്യുന്നു. ലൈക്ക് പീപ്പിൾ ഹു ഡോണ്ട് മൈൻഡ് വർക്കിംഗ് ഹിയർ. കാരണം കുറേ പേർക്ക് ഇവിടെ തന്നെ ഇതാണ് താല്പര്യം. അവർക്ക് വെളിയിൽ പഠിച്ചത് ലൈക്ക് ആ സമയം
എന്നുവെച്ചാൽ നീ ആലോചിച്ച് നോക്കും, നീ ഒരു വെളിയിലൊരു ഹയർ കോളേജിൽ അല്ലെങ്കിൽ യൂണിവേഴ്സിറ്റി പഠിച്ചിട്ട് നീ തിരിച്ച് നമ്മുടെ രാജ്യത്ത് വന്ന് ജോലി ചെയ്യുമ്പോൾ നിനക്ക് ആ വില കൂടും.
ലോണൊക്കെ എടുത്ത് പോയിട്ട് തിരിച്ചു വരാൻ പറ്റും.
അല്ല അതല്ല പറഞ്ഞത്. അവര് പാർട്ട് ടൈം ചെയ്ത് തന്നെ മിക്കവരും പാർട്ട് ടൈം ചെയ്താൽ തന്നെ എൻ്റെ അടുത്ത് പറഞ്ഞ് നീ നല്ലോണം ഫുഡൊക്കെ വീട്ടിൽ ഉണ്ടാക്കാൻ കഴിവുള്ള ഉണ്ടാക്കിയൊക്കെയാണ് തിന്നണമെങ്കിൽ ദൂത്തടിക്കാതെയാണ് നീ കഴിയണമെങ്കിൽ നിനക്ക് സുഖമായിട്ട് 2-3 വർഷത്തിനകത്ത് എനിക്ക് പൈസ തിരിച്ചടയ്ക്കാം. പാർട്ട് ടൈം ചെയ്താൽ തന്നെ നിനക്ക് കാശ്. ചിലവരവിടെ ജീവിക്കണത് പാർട്ട് ടൈം ചെയ്താണ്, അതറിയാമോ? പാർട്ട് ടൈം ഫുൾ ടൈം ആക്കി ജീവിക്കുന്ന ആൾക്കാരുണ്ട് അവിടെ പോയി കോഴ്സ് ഡ്രോപ്പ് ചെയ്തിട്ട്. അങ്ങനത്തെ ഒരാൾക്കാരുണ്ട്. അപ്പം ഡ്യൂവബിൾ ആണ്. പക്ഷെ USA എനിക്ക് പോകാൻ താല്പര്യമില്ലാത്ത മെയിൻ കാര്യം ഫീസൊക്കെ കുറവായിരിക്കും കോളേജിൽ വെച്ചാൽ. മുട്ടൻ എക്സ്പെൻസ് ആണ്
എവിടെ
USA. ജയറാമിന് USA പോകണമെന്നൊക്കെയാണ് പറയണേ. ഞാൻ പറഞ്ഞേ നീ നിനക്ക് പോകണമെങ്കിൽ പൊയ്ക്കോ, ഞാൻ പോകില്ല. ഞാൻ പറഞ്ഞു എനിക്ക് ഹെൽത്ത് എന്റെ ലൈഫിന് എനിക്ക് വിലയുണ്ട്. അപ്പൊ ഞാൻ എന്തായാലും
അവരുടെ ഹെൽത്ത് കെയർ സിസ്റ്റം കുറച്ച് ഫക്ഡ് അപ്പ് ആണ്. അവിടെ ലൈക്ക് ഗൺ വയലൻസ് ഭയങ്കര. ഇല്ല അവിടെ പോയാൽ കാശ് പോകും, വെറുതെ പോകും.
ലോക്കൽസ് റേസിസ്റ്റും ആണ്.
അവർക്ക് ബുദ്ധിയില്ല. സോറി, ക്രീമിലാണ് പറയുന്നത്. ഗൈസ് വിട്ടുകളാ, നോ റീസ്, അങ്ങനെയല്ല ഉദ്ദേശിച്ചത്. ബട്ട് അവരുടെ എഡ്യൂക്കേഷൻ സിസ്റ്റം ഫക്ഡ് അപ്പ് ആണ്, അത്രേ ഞാൻ ഉദ്ദേശിച്ചത്.
സൗത്ത് അമേരിക്ക ഡോളറല്ല, പെസോസ്.
എന്റെ നെയ്ബർ സൗത്തിലാണ്, സൗത്ത് അമേരിക്കയിലാണ്.
അമേരിക്ക സൗത്ത് അല്ല,
സൗത്ത് അമേരിക്ക, മറ്റേ ചില്ലി അർജന്റീന ഒക്കെ ഉള്ള
അതാണ് അവിടെ പെസോസ്. ഞാൻ ഉദ്ദേശിച്ചത് അമേരിക്കയിലെ സൗത്ത് പോർഷൻ ആണ്. അവരാണ് താമസിക്കുന്നത്.
നോർത്ത് അമേരിക്കയിലെ സൗത്ത് അമേരിക്ക തന്നെയാണ്, അതിന്റെ നോർത്താ കാനഡ.
അല്ല അങ്ങനെയല്ല ഞാൻ ഉദ്ദേശിച്ചത്. ലൈക്ക് അമേരിക്കയിൽ തന്നെ സൗതേൺ പോർഷൻ ഇല്ലേ? സൗത്ത് അമേരിക്ക അല്ല, അമേരിക്കയിൽ തന്നെ സൗതേൺ പോർഷൻ ആണ്. അയർലൻഡ് വിഷയമാണ്. പക്ഷെ അയർലൻഡിലെ പ്രശ്നം, അയർലൻഡില് ചെറിയ പ്രശ്നങ്ങളൊക്കെ ഉണ്ട്. അപ്പൊ ലാംഗ്വേജ് അല്ല, അയർലൻഡിൽ പോയി കഴിഞ്ഞാൽ ലൈക്ക് അവിടുത്തെ ജോബ് ഓപ്പർച്യൂണിറ്റി വെച്ച് നോക്കുവാണെങ്കിൽ വലിയ ഹൈ അല്ല.
ജോബൊക്കെ ഉണ്ട്, ജോബ് ഓപ്പർച്യൂണിറ്റി കുറേ ഉണ്ട്.
ഞാൻ അന്വേഷിച്ചപ്പം ലൈക്ക് IT ഫീൽഡ്.
നീ IT തന്നെയാണോ നോക്കുന്നത്?
അല്ല ഞാൻ എനിക്കെന്ന് വെച്ചാൽ IT പോക്കണം നിർബന്ധമില്ല, മനസ്സിലായോ? എനിക്ക് ലൈക്ക് പഠിച്ചു കഴിഞ്ഞാൽ ലൈക്ക് ഇത് ജോലി ഉറപ്പാണ്, അല്ലെങ്കിൽ ഒരു പെട്ടെന്ന് കിട്ടുന്ന ഏതായാലും. അതാണ് എനിക്ക് IT എന്ന് വെച്ചാലേ എനിക്ക് കോഡിങ് വേണ്ട, മടുത്ത്. സംസാരിക്കാനാണെങ്കിൽ ഞാൻ പിന്നെ നോക്കാം, മനസ്സിലായോ?
സിവിൽ എഞ്ചിനീയറിംഗ് കുറെ എളുപ്പമുള്ള കോഴ്സ് ഉണ്ടായിരുന്നു.
എൻ്റെ അടുത്ത് ഞാൻ അച്ഛൻ്റെ കൂട്ടുകാരൻ്റെ മോൻ സിവിൽ എഞ്ചിനീയർ ഇവിടെ പഠിച്ചിട്ട് അവിടെ വേറെ എന്താ കോഴ്സിൽ ഇപ്പം ഉടനെ ഗവൺമെന്റ് ജോലിക്ക് കയറുമെന്ന് പറഞ്ഞായിരുന്നു അവിടെ.
കളിച്ചോണ്ടിരിക്കുക. 9 മണിയായോ? കഴിക്കണം. ഓ അളിയാ, ഞാൻ കഴിഞ്ഞ ആഴ്ച 2 ഇന്ത്യ ഗെയിംസ് വാങ്ങി. ഒരെണ്ണം ഇന്നലെ തീർത്ത്, ഇന്ന് ഒരെണ്ണം തുടങ്ങി. യെസ് യുവർ ഗ്രേസ് എന്ന് പറഞ്ഞ ഗെയിം ഇന്നലെ കുഴപ്പമില്ലായിരുന്നു. എനിക്ക് അങ്ങനത്തെ ഗെയിംസ് ഭയങ്കര ഇഷ്ടം. അതുകൊണ്ട്
എനിക്ക് എന്റെ ഞാൻ
എടാ ഞാൻ സ്ട്രീമിന്റെ ഇടയിലായിരുന്നടാ. ഞാൻ സ്ട്രീം വാർഫ്രെയിം നോക്കാം.
എബ്രോഡ് വരാനോ?
പഠിക്കാൻ.
എങ്ങോട്ട് പോവാ?
അങ്ങനെയൊന്നുമില്ല.
ഞാൻ പേപ്പർ ഒന്നും ഇട്ടില്ല.
ഇപ്പൊ അല്ലടാ.
എപ്പോഴാ?
മോസ്റ്റ് പ്രോബബ്ലി നെക്സ്റ്റ് ഇയർ.
ജിംബ്രു എവിടെയാണ് പ്ലാൻ ഇടുന്നത്? എങ്ങനെയായിരിക്കും? എന്തൊക്കെ വേണ്ടി വരും?
അയർലൻഡ് നടക്കുമെന്ന് എനിക്ക് സംശയമാണ്.
അയർലൻഡിൽ പോയാൽ നമ്മള് ഐറിഷ് പഠിക്കണ്ടേ? അവർക്ക് നമ്മളെ മനസ്സിലാവോ? നമുക്ക് അവരുടെ മനസ്സിലാവോ? ഇംഗ്ലീഷ് മനസ്സിലാവോന്ന് ഞാൻ ചോദിച്ചു. അയർലൻഡിൽ
നമ്മുടെ രീതിയിൽ ഇംഗ്ലീഷ് പറഞ്ഞാൽ മതി.
ഞാനും മൃദുല അവിടെ പോയാൽ തിരിച്ചു വരുന്ന ആൽക്കഹോളിക്സ് ആയിട്ടായിരിക്കും.
സെൽഫ് കൺട്രോൾ
എനിക്ക് സെൽഫ് കൺട്രോൾ.
എനിവേസ് ഗൈസ്, ഞാൻ ഇന്നത്തേക്ക് നിർത്തുവാണ്. ഐ ഗസ് ഒരെണ്ണം കൂടെ ചെയ്യാനുണ്ട്. ബട്ട് അത് ഞാൻ പതുക്കെ ചെയ്തേക്കാം. എപ്പോഴും നാളെ എല്ലാവരും കളി ചെയ്യാം. ആൻഡ് എനിവേസ് പതിപോലെ ഞാൻ നിർത്തുവാണ്. ഐ ഗസ് ഗുഡ് ബൈ, GG's ആൻഡ് ടു ബി കണ്ടിന്യൂഡ്. ബൈ.